Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. We're halfway through the month of January, and I have not seized the month enough because my name is Jan Ochoa, host of the Giant Bombcast, episode 873, powered by Pogs. That's right. Yeah! Whatever you want it to be, spell it however you want it. But what is purely defined here is co-captain of the ship, Jeff Grubb.
Yeah, we're gonna rename it to Jeffuary if you're not careful, man. You got to start picking up the pace here in January.
Jeez. Okay. All right. I'm gonna start Disco Choa Elysium next Monday, and we'll just roll with that.
Hell yeah.
We have our own narrative designer of giantbomb.com, Dan Reichert.
Wait, do it again. I want to do the Rey Mysterio entrance.
We've got our own Booyaka 619.
Hey, what's up, guys?
It's pretty good.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, that was very good.
Mhm.
Can you do the Sin Cara one next podcast?
Yeah, let me get the trampoline out. Hit my head on the ceiling. Yeah,
and we can't talk about Pogs without the Grand Master, the authority, the Pog Slammer, the bad boy of games media, the playboy of the site, Mike Minotti.
Hi, hey, how's it going? It's great to be me. How are you?
I'm good now.
what's going on here, Mike?
What? What?
Come on, you're the happy guy.
Why would we keep calling him the Pog Slammer and he has to pretend he doesn't like it? Come on.
It's a funny nickname.
How are you gonna spell Pog on the shirt?
The
The correct way.
I feel like I open my mouth and I get people chatting like Mike's gonna be canceled. And I'm like, what did I say? Something about Super Metroid?
You were the one explaining what Pog was loudly on this podcast before.
Because you asked. It wasn't on this podcast. It was on
It was
Play
on
Club.
something.
Anything goes there. Anything goes
Yeah,
there.
there's no rules
Okay,
on
that's
Blight
our
Club. We
program.
killed Jimmy Carter.
That's our Adult Swim is Blight Club. Yeah.
Yes. It's also our SNCC.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
It is also Gas.
Sure.
Gas channel.
Yeah.
God, I miss Gas. Nickelodeon Games and Sports was the best channel ever.
Why hasn't anyone reached out about letting us collectively host like a game show like that?
Did they ever bring back Guts? I feel like they brought everything. They even tried with Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I think kids game shows just aren't a thing anymore. People just
That's
watch
insane.
they
That's
just
I
watch
grew up
Mr.
on that shit.
they
There
just
is
watch
that-
Mr. Beast get like a bunch of adults
That's
together.
definitely one taking over. You're right. There was that like the Floor is the Lava show on Netflix that was pretty popular. right there.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they made all those shows, Nickelodeon, because they're probably very cheap to make. But yeah, I loved them also.
I remember even as a kid thinking the best job in the world would be the guys that had to stand on top of the aggro crag with the foam boulders, and you're just beaning these fucking kids with boulders.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, I
Yeah.
wanted to throw boulders at
You
kids.
I could see you as a temple guardian too. for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. But I'd be given like snug clotheslines and stuff.
I've always said my dream job would be to be that big burly American guy that was on Takeshi's Castle that would just run into Japanese people that were trying to get to the end of an obstacle course.
Sure.
That would be
Yeah.
my dream job.
Yeah.
As you try and pronounce Ryugaku, I can't say it now.
Yeah. Gotoku.
I feel like those game shows do exist, but they're all on the streamers now. Have y'all heard of Human versus Hamster?
No.
It is on Max, the one to watch for HBO.
Really?
So that's where I watch my wrestling. Yeah.
Yes. So the premise is they have like an obstacle course for a human to run.
Okay.
They also have a similar obstacle course that is a replica for a hamster to get through. And then the human has to race the hamster.
I
That's
would
pretty
beat
good.
the shit out of any hamster in that situation. Put me on that show for shoot. That would be incredible.
Man,
I want to be on any game show. I applied to be on the new Supermarket Sweep. Put me. I'd be great on a game show.
You would be, yes. No one's going to disagree with you.
Where were you, folks, in 2025 when Dan shifted his focus on trying to defeat children worldwide to hamsters?
I would also do a game show where I try to defeat children, and I would beat most of them at most things.
We should just
Maybe
spin
not
off.
anything
Like-
trivia
You
related.
think are you smarter than a fifth grader? Do you think you would handle that one all right?
Yeah.
Because that's
Hey,
like
what grade is Dylan in?
Fifth
he's not. Well, how old is he? He's 10.
9, 10?
I think so.
10?
He's like fourth or fifth.
Fourth or
Okay,
fifth.
seriously, I'm not kidding at all. Throw that kid on a trivia show with me. I will kick his ass.
But Are You
Like-
Smarter Than a Fifth Grader is the stuff you learned on back to school and immediately forgot.
All right, hit me with something. And I'll give you
okay.
my shoot answer.
Yeah. The process that makes the sun give off energy.
Photosynthesis.
He's got it, everybody. Never mind.
All right.
You're right.
All right. What is the powerhouse of the cell? This wasn't covered.
Mitochondria.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Dang.
I think we're good. I think
What's
we're
the
ready for
capital of
telling ya.
Hawaii? I wanted to do one.
Is it Honolulu?
That's
It
right.
is.
He got it.
Guys, I think we're ready. I think we're ready for
Ah,
big time.
Shit.
Yeah.
The first one was completely incorrect. But yeah, we're good. Yeah. Wait,
Photosynthesis was?
are you joking?
I didn't let you finish. Say I was trying to be cocky and say it before you finish. Say the whole thing.
Yeah, what is the process by which the sun gives off energy? Like, where's the energy coming from? What is that process called?
Heat.
Cool.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Better than photosynthesis.
Solar flares.
Yeah. Nuclear fusion. Yes.
No.
There's not
solar-
nukes on the fucking sun.
No,
I'm not a fool.
That's
No,
where they store them.
Dan, there's nuclear. Okay.
It is weird how little you know about the sun specifically. Most people are very interested in learning about the sun. That
I'm
big
very
red thing
happy
in the
about it.
sky.
I am
Yeah,
pro sun.
We named entire days after it. Yeah.
No. I'm a big sun fan.
Okay.
Like I don't want to change any of that operation. I'm just not going to talk about. I don't know how the inner workings work. You know.
Sure.
You know what? I still think we should spin off. No one. This part of the podcast is not going to get posted. All right. Everyone watching live, huddle up together. All right.
Yeah.
We're just going to make a game show network. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right. But we're also going to be able to compete on the game shows.
Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
Can we make it a work so we always win?
Of
Sure.
course, we run
Yeah.
we run it.
Why has
Mike-
no one done this before? This seems like a great
They
idea.
did do it, and they got a lot of trouble.
Oh, is this the McDonald's Monopoly?
And the that like game show guy that like they tried to make look extra smart.
Is this to tell the truth or
Yeah, there's like a
what's my
whole movie
line
about
or
it or
something?
whatever. Yeah,
One lying about his video game stats again. What?
Was it the
Yeah.
George Clooney black and white movie? What was the with Sam? What am I thinking?
Well,
of?
I don't think it was the George Clooney black and white one. I think it was it Ralph Fiennes in it or
Oh my
Ray
God.
Fiennes.
No, there's
Emma,
one-
you're in on this conversation too. Okay.
What's the one I'm fucking thinking about? It's black and white. It was like with Sam. It was Edward Norton or Sam Rockwell. Good night and good luck.
Yeah, good. Well, yeah, but that was not a game show.
I don't remember what
That
it
was him doing the nightly news.
This
about-
conversation sucks.
Is it
Is
Tinker
that-
Tailor Soldier Spot?
I'm sorry, but him thinking no. Good night and good luck is about a famous nightly news anchor, not a game show. I can see how they're confusing because they're both on the television.
Yeah, but when you think about it, are they so different?
Symbolism.
Symbolism.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's your metaphor of this week, folks. Thanks for joining us for the Giant Bombcast. We'll see you next week for another episode.
Hey, I was watching the Windbag yesterday. He seemed shoot hot as a work. He said that Giant Bomb unfollowed him, but then like followed him back right away. But like I told him I'd get to the bottom of this. What happened here?
Okay. So I was.
Oh,
No. I'm not involved in this. Okay. I was looking for people to raid, and then I think I had set it up to raid Bailey, and then I checked who else was streaming, and I was like, oh, the Windbag is streaming, but it wasn't on like our followed. So I went onto Windbag's Twitch channel, and then I hit follow, and then I was wondering to myself, who unfollowed? Who pressed the button?
Yeah.
Oh, the
All right.
plot thing.
Mystery.
because we
Yeah.
have followed him as the Giant Bomb account for a long time.
Way
We've rated
long
him many
ago.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
don't
then-
think I have access to the Twitch account.
I
so,
don't. Who
I
else
don't
has
think
access, Jan? Who are
Yeah,
our
who- you know what?
suspects?
It's Bacalar.
It was back.
Wow. It
It's
was
Bacalar.
Jeff.
It's
Bacalar never
100%
liked him.
Bacalar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bacalar doesn't like
Wow.
anyone.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, man.
They got heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuclear heat.
Bacalar
Guys-
likes like Dylan and like
The
Wayne
sun.
Gretzky.
Yeah, guys, if you look at Bacalar's Blue Sky, he's only following a burner for Dib, Wayne Gretzky, and he's unfollowed all of us.
That is
Yep.
true.
Wow.
That comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, how's everyone doing? We're okay?
Great.
Yeah.
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 Actually,
all right.
I feel decent today. I think most of the year I had been sick until like yesterday. I finally have felt 100%. So that's nice.
I started eating kimchi.
Ah.
Did you
Mm.
see the
That's
thing
pickled.
about it fighting obesity?
No, but I did watch a movie about gut health. This documentary, and they mentioned it in there. And
There's
I was
brain
like,
stuff in your gut.
yeah. Okay, well, it's like when you think about it, it's like we didn't have brains for like a long time in evolution, but we had guts the entire time. We had to eat stuff. So it's like, what did they do before they had brains? It's like, oh, the gut was just doing all the thinking. Turns out.
there's like serotonin
you
receptors in your gut, which is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, kimchi, that's good. That's real good. You open it up and it's all bubbly like champagne, but there's a bunch of vegetables in there, and that's weird. And then you eat it, and it tastes awesome. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. It seems like one of the most you foods.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm into it. I had to look. I'm like, wait. I thought fermented always meant alcohol, and it's like, oh no, that depends on what you're fermenting. Like grapes.
Fermented means rotten, so I stay away from that.
Well, yeah.
No.
Okay. That's not really. I mean, it means
Beer.
it does. It does
Beer
mean
is
like there's
fermented.
living things in there, so that's also. why
I
would
stay away from that shit.
Yeah.
You drink beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not alive.
Yes, it's fermented.
Don't
Yeast.
do beer's not alive. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not doing this.
No
Okay.
different from kimchi.
It's no different
I
at all.
don't
It's the
eat
exact same
anything
thing.
with living, running around amoebas inside of it. Like,
Sure do.
it's-
But
no,
that-
no,
but that is what
I'm not
like,
doing this.
But that's what makes the gut good. You need that stuff.
Yeah,
that you
I
need
do.
good gut.
I have probiotics.
I
That's the
can't
living
believe
stuff.
you're doing mental gymnastics to explain why actually I don't drink enzymes in beer or whatever. And then you just went and ate all of the degreaser because you didn't want to
I
lose out on
didn't
10
do
bucks.
it intentionally. It was $5, but
You did do it intentionally. That was the major point of the story.
That was
well, no,
the-
I didn't like. Ooh, I'm gonna have a bowl of degreaser for dinner.
you did though, because you knew what it was and
But
you
I'm-
still ate it.
But I'm not fucking up anymore. I've been making dinner every night now, and it's like I'm learning. I learned how to not make the chicken explode all over me and burn me with oil.
I
That's
refuse
good.
to be proud of you.
No, I'm feeling great. I'm getting up in the mornings. I'm feeling healthy. It's good.
You know what? I'm going to continue to be proud of you, Dan.
Thank
all
you,
right?
Jan.
Wow.
Thanks. You're being a
Jan's the
supportive
bigger man.
friend. I appreciate that.
It's the duality of man here. All right.
Thank you. Thank
okay.
you. Turns out, okay.
No, no.
Actual question here. Okay, so I'm actually trying to get better about this. I learned because I'm doing the chicken thing. So I buy a thing of like 6 or 7 chicken breasts. I individually put them in Ziploc bags with some seasonings and some marinade. Throw them in the freezer, and then when I'm ready, I toss it in the sous vide. A couple hours. I got a nice, delicious chicken breast at the end. But it's got a marinade in there, and sometimes water gets in the bag, so it's very wet. And so I realized early on that I was putting the chicken into like I take a pan, I make it medium hot. I put oil in the pan, and then I drop the chicken in, and it's just, it's loud, and it's spraying everywhere. It's burning me. It's all over the stovetop. So, yeah, last night, I looked up some stuff. People say I don't Google. I Googled it, and I patted down the chicken breasts with paper towels to make sure they weren't wet, because it's a thing with the water and the oil, and that actually helped a lot. Now, my question. I have long heard the thing about oil and water don't mix. That's a saying that people say all the time, right?
It's not a saying.
There
It's
is.
just a
That's a saying.
scientific fact.
No, it's a saying and it's a truth. I understand
Okay.
that, but I'm trying to understand the mechanics of it because, okay, I've got that figured out now with making sure the chicken's not wet when I put it in. But when I'm done, I put the chicken on the plate. Then I got a pan full of, I guess it's oil at that point, olive oil probably, and I'll put it in the sink. And sometimes I put the water in there and it goes crazy. And it's loud and it's scary. So what is happening with that oil and water, and how do you safely do the oil and water thing?
First off, let your pan cool before you start cleaning it. That's not going to be good for the pan doing
Okay.
that.
Dan, do never pour that oil down the drain.
I've been doing that every night.
Okay, and what is your question about? Like, are you asking why oil and water don't mix?
Yeah, just what is the right way of dealing with this?
Okay, so state your problem again that you want to deal with, just so I'm fully aware.
Like when I have a pan full of oil,
and you want to clean it.
yeah, and I've done it, and I realized that like, oh, okay, it seems like if I put water straight in it, it just goes ape shit.
Right, don't put water this is why we have the greaser. Because you mix the degreaser in with the water, and that will help it bond a little bit more to the oil, because the oil is one of them has a polarity and the other one doesn't, where it's like they have a positive electron on one end, and that is why they don't.
Grubb, we're going too macro. We're going.
Yeah, okay,
too...
yes, it's about polarity. That's why they don't come together. But when you get soap in there, it helps it mix together, and it helps it
So
bond.
I put soap in the oil, and then I put water in there.
No, just let the oil cool down.
But
On the stove.
Yeah, and get a paper. Let the pan cool down for a while. Then get a paper towel and wipe down the pan to get a
As
lot
much
of
as
the
you
oil out
can.
that way, and put that in the garbage, which is a better way of disposing it than putting it down your drain. Then you can rinse off the rest with the degreaser and the water in the sink.
Dan,
It's okay.
have you ever poured hot oil down the toilet?
Why would oil be near the toilet?
I don't know, because like pouring cooking oil down your sink is very bad for those pipes. and you've clogged a lot of toilets, so I just would have
Oh.
assumed.
But he's
No,
never
I haven't
cooked
cooked
very much
enough to
before.
know.
Okay.
So wait, so you don't pour oil down the drain because it
No.
clogs pipes?
Yes,
Yeah.
very, very bad for pipes.
And Drano doesn't.
It'll
that
do
Drano can help a
some
little
stuff,
bit,
but like
It can
but
help,
you don't
but,
you
you
don't
know.
you don't want the
Build
problem
up.
in the first place. Yeah.
A plumber could fix it, right?
it could
Hey,
be
you can pay
costly.
them. You were just worried about $10 with asparagus. $5, half as much. $5.
People are starving. Food has a, it's not a
Starving.
money thing. It's a food
It was
thing.
your side dish.
Yeah, but you got to get a veggie on there.
Normally, sure, that's great, that's admirable. But if the options are no veggie or veggie with degreaser, I think you can do no veggie for one day.
By the way, I'm on 2 weeks of eating healthy now. Significant changes to my poop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
so,
it's just like a 2 foot long, unbroken, just flat Microsoft Paint brown fill color. It is just fucking.
Wow.
Seriously, I was looking at it today, like an hour ago, and I was like, "God damn, that's a turd." That is
Wow.
just
not
you
double,
know,
not even
I-
double tapered.
no. Just it's literally it was like 2 feet long. It was like I could see maybe a foot and 2 inches, and it kept going down
Wait.
indefinitely.
He's playing the song again. We gotta talk about video games now.
Crazy how good my poop is.
you
right
know,
now.
I here's a little inside baseball into my week. I start Mondays. We have a lot of setup for the week, and my weekly therapy appointment is Monday afternoon. And the commonality and the anchor is I'll tell her, it's like, hey, like there's a lot of stuff going wrong in my life and I'm trying to improve. But at least I'm very thankful for my coworkers because they act as anchors and are a good time. And
I
now I
believe
think
in
I'm
that.
regretting that.
I'm telling you about how healthy I am. You regret that?
I am very
I'll send
happy.
you a picture tomorrow.
He might. That's the reality.
I won't do that. That's beyond me. I've never taken a picture of my poop.
Just send me like a symbol that you think it looks like. Does it look like an ampersand, an @ sign, like
Is
a parentheses?
ratemypoop.com still a thing?
No, I don't know. It's like if you took like 5 things of silly putty together and you went like this until it was like all like really just one long, and then you snaked it down. Into
What
the
vegetables are you
S-pipe.
eating? Like that was quick.
Asparagus, Brussels sprouts, big old salads I'm
It
making.
just sounds like your body got
chickpeas.
fiber for the first time ever. is what
It's crazy. I have like energy. I feel alive.
Imagine if this is someone's first
This-
podcast.
You do have a lot of energy. You voluntarily wanted to jump like Rey Mysterio in the beginning. You did that. I was like, I'm not doing
It's great. Working out at like 7 in the morning. Hell yeah.
That. Oh, that sounds awful.
Oh, it's awesome.
Okay. All right. Dan, you're working at a lot of things. You're revisiting stuff. You're revisiting eating good, but you've also been revisiting Red Dead Redemption 2. And
I
I'm curious
have.
to see how that has been going.
And I can't remember. I think I brought it up on this
You
site.
brought it up. Yeah.
But,
Just started last
maybe
time,
not
I
on
think.
here. Okay, that's right. And like, okay, so Mike, you're a pro Red Dead 2 guy.
I'm pro. Yes.
Okay, Jan, generally
No.
pro?
No.
No, Jan doesn't like it. Okay.
I'm
Grubb.
in the same camp as Grubb.
Okay, so me, Jan, and Grubb, I think we're all very much in the same camp with the Red
Yes.
Dead 2. This has been very interesting, and I'm not going to go and say, like, all of a sudden, oh, guys, it's the best game ever. It's not that. And the things that frustrated me before are still at times frustrating me, but I will say coming to it now, so much further past the release, with the knowledge of what to expect. Because, like, I'm remembering the first time I walked into a place and I had to like search drawers and I was like, what the fuck? Why is he moving so slow? I am expecting it this time. And that has helped a lot. And I'm learning like, okay, when I'm on a mission, I'm just going to follow this guy and talk to him while we're on a horse. Like that. I'm not going to go off and try to do my hunts right now. I like section off, like it's story time. It is hunting time. It's let's just ride my horse east and see what happens time. And there are things that I've been doing that have been helping in terms of like, so first person mode. It's good for the combat.
Yeah.
It's also, I don't like it as much on the traversing because it's just the field of view. I've tried bringing out the field of view, whatever. Anyway, walking through towns is the biggest change I've noticed because if you're just walking Arthur around town, third person, he kind of just ambles. He just kind of like saunters around. It's very, very slow. When you go into first person, I've gone back and forth to kind of test this. He moves so much faster. So just walking from the doctor to the saloon to the hotel or whatever is just so much faster. And then once you're in there, first of all the details and everything of all these things they put all over the walls and drawers and stuff, it looks much better. But it just it feels better than just watching a guy from third person, beans, you know? So yeah, I've been switching back and forth a lot from first and third person, and that has helped a lot. And God damn, if it doesn't run great on PC, I mean, just these like vistas and just the weather effects and everything. And like, I'm liking the story. I played the first time around as like, I'm going to be rootin' tootin' crazy cowboy guy. And you looked at me weird, I'm shooting you in the head, you know? Now that I played through it in its entirety the first time, and now that I kind of know who Arthur Morgan as a character is, I'm playing it more as in like, he's a guy who's done some bad things and he's reflective about it, but he's at his heart probably a good person, you know? So I'm playing him that way, and that's been more rewarding from a story perspective. And so, Grubb, I know you specifically, that's the thing that drove you nuts, is like Rockstar was so precious about like, no, you're playing our game our way. You have to experience it our way. And that does happen from like the lack of open world stuff when you're on a mission, or to like, you know, you don't have a lot of freedom to make Arthur your Arthur, you know, it's pretty much like Arthur is Arthur. And if you play him weird, it's just going to feel, you know, it's not going to feel right, you know? So just going into it now with the knowledge of my first time, I am definitely enjoying it. Like I am way like there were things I appreciated about it the first time around. But I will say, like, now I am very excited. Like, if I have a night where I don't have anything planned and it's like, all right, I'm just going to, you know, have a drink and sit down and just sink into this world for 4 or 5 hours and just, you know, ride my horse off in a direction and see what happens. And like, the lady's horse fell on her and she needs some help. And like, instead of being asshole Arthur like I was the first time, I was like, oh yeah, come on, I'll give you a ride home, and, you know, have a whole talk with her and everything. And it is a peaceful at times, it's a cool game. It's a really cool game, I think.
I can definitely see that like being a problem with the game, is that I kind of approach it more like, yeah, I'm like, this is a cowboy play and I'm playing the part of the cowboy. And it does really feel like there is one way to play Arthur that does make sense. Because yeah, I definitely would have had a much worse time with the game if I was doing the more kind of evil cowboy thing there. It doesn't really tie into the story as well. Just a lot of the side stuff doesn't really make as much sense with that kind of character archetype. So, you know, it's like you have those options there and you want to explore them, but it does kind of feel like maybe you're doing something wrong if you play it evil cowboy style.
Yeah,
Dan,
I think... Oh, go ahead, Dan, please.
Dan, I forget, where did you land with Cyberpunk?
I like it. I liked it at the beginning because I really wasn't having the technical issues that a lot of people were having. But and I came back to it with Phantom Liberty and I liked it more, like a lot of the additions and stuff they did there. But I didn't beat it. So I'm not going to say I love it, but like I definitely didn't have a like, oh, I'm, you know, this is repulsing to me, you know, like a lot of us did with Red Dead the first time.
Right. Well, maybe I'll try it out first person then.
That stuff definitely helps. I think I think it really is a matter of, there's people on one side who are like, I am happy to give myself over to what this game is. I like this character, or I like what they're going to do with this character, or I am interested in this character, so I want to play the way I think this character should play. And if you do that, I think this game is why. I think that's why a lot of people end up saying, no, this is a masterpiece, because they wanted that experience. If you want anything else, and this is for me, the big problem was just like, everything in the world suggests more. There's a possibility here. There's something you can do. And anytime you try to engage with that, I was rebuffed. Now, I still found times where it's like, yeah, this world is amazing. And some of the stuff where it did kind of, where we got simpatico and we did match up, me and the game and the developers. It was like, there were moments that were pretty amazing. Like I talked about getting on the train and stuff like that. It didn't end in any interesting way, but just the process of like catching up to this train and go on there and robbing everybody, that stuff, that thing worked. That was cool.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just knowing when you can engage with the world, where it's like, if you're on a story mission and you and Dutch are riding your horses, just ride your horse. Like, turn on the cinematic camera, hold an A, and just hear it out.
Let the game do the thing.
Yeah.
It's a cutscene, basically.
Yeah. And then when it's open, like I will just build in those times where it's like, I'm just exploring here. And then some of the side stuff is super fun. Like, it's scripted stuff, but like the bounties, like one of them was like, okay, here's this woman who's been married 6 times and never divorced, meaning she's definitely been like killing her husbands and like luring these guys in, robbing them and killing them. And it's like, okay, we last saw her by this river. And it's just really fun to like kind of pull up on your horse. And you're like, okay, yep, I see her over there. And she's like underneath an on like a rock awning with a dude, and this dude looks like he's just like really like trying hard to impress her and stuff, and just walking up and being like, all right, I'm just gonna try to defuse the situation. Just like don't have a gun out, just gonna try to talk to him and bring this lady in. And this dude who's like trying to like impress the girl, like saying, "Oh, what are you doing, sir? No, get away from us!" I'm like, "Don't make me pull the gun out." And he's approaching me and I'm hitting the defuse button, and Arthur's like, "Hey man, we don't need to get violent here." And the guy pulls out a gun. I'm like, "All right, motherfucker," and just pull out a gun, just blow his fucking head off, lasso the lady, take her to jail. It's just like didn't have to be this way. Like it's just those fun little like. Yeah, they're scripted to be a certain way, but they're still fun to play out and be like, let me see if we can handle this peacefully. You know?
Yeah, I think in the review period, my one of the things that did get to me was like people would talk about their emergent stories, and everyone had the same exact emergent stories. It's like, oh, this is all just part of the script as well.
Sure.
And that's fine. I think there's nothing really wrong with that. It's just not what I want from that game. When they are building, when they're spending all this money to make this amazing world, it's not what I want.
But some of those emergent stories are like, these scripted things, like, and everyone has the same one. But there are actual emergent stories that come out of it where it's just like, I needed another $12 or whatever to clear my bounty. And then it's like, I just decide to like wander into town at night and be like, all right, let me see if I can win some money in a poker game. Or let me see or I go into a hotel and I'm like walking room to room, searching drawers and stuff. Nope, there's a guy in here. And all right, I'll just rob this one dude here real quick, and shit, he only had 70 cents. All right, I'll go down and I'll play poker or whatever, like it's fun.
I play Red Dead Redemption 2.
I know it's pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe I got to take the Brad Shoemaker approach, because the thing that stuck out to me when we chatted about it, Red Dead Redemption 2 for that game of the year, is that Brad kind of treated it like his outdoor sabbatical and spending a lot of time outdoors just camping and hunting.
Yeah.
Maybe I got to do that.
Well, that's the thing too, is like, I was so mad the first time when it's like, I just wanted to like, I was playing it like an old video game where it's like, oh, I hit this button to use my health thing, and Max Payne just eats the pills and his health is better. It's just like hit L1 to get health or whatever. That's not this game at all. So it's a lot of stuff where it's like, okay, well, now's the time. I'm going to build a little fire here. I'm going to like, I got some venison, I got some meat. Now we're going to cook some stuff here. And like, I'll eat one for now and I'll store some for later. And I need this stuff. And like, it's much more deliberate. It is a very deliberate game. Oh, and I'm meeting it on those terms now, and it is much more rewarding that way.
What is the state of Red Dead Redemption 2 online?
I've never played it online.
I remember I booted
that.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. I booted it up during lockdown to play with Vinny and Abby, and then I got on my horse, and then Vinny immediately shot me in the head.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah. It made me not want to play the game anymore.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I would encourage, if you guys are like, I picked it because there's not a lot right now coming out that I finally had kind of a break from travel and new releases and stuff. And it's like, you know what? I've been meaning to do this for a while. Now's the time. And I'm happy I'm doing it for sure.
I'm proud of you, Dan. I'm proud that you're like allegory of the cave. You're Plato. You're
Plato's allegory of the cave, of course. Yes.
Exactly. You're emerging from the cave to tell us about the wonders of Red Dead Redemption 2.
They're just shadows. Yeah.
Yes. But Jeff Grubb
Does Dylan know that? Does Dylan know Plato?
He's trying to do a segue, Dan. Jesus.
Dan, I'm impressed you knew about Plato's cave allegory.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah.
Anyway, Jeff Grubb is in a cave. Caves of Cud.
Yeah, the exact opposite of Red Dead Redemption 2. It really couldn't be the more of the opposite. This is all systems. So I don't know how much people know about this game. It is uses kind of ASCII graphics. It simulates an entire world. When you start it up, it's like, hey, we're going to simulate the history of everything that has ever happened up to this point. And then you're going to jump in at this point, and then you'll be able to interact with all of that, and all that stuff will be meaningful. And I am just kind of getting the hang of how this game works. It was a lot for me at the start. I don't know if it'll be a lot for most people, but for me, like, there's so many different icons on the screen and information that it definitely was like, oh, this is a lot to process. And it's hard for me to be like, here, I'll just focus on what's important, because everything in my mind is just a mush when it's like that. So kind of like went through the tutorial, was able to kind of get a few little tidbits. And I kind of liked that the tutorial was short and sweet. And they're like, listen, leveling and quest, all this other stuff, we're going to let you figure that out. I'm like, okay, cool. This is a good balance of give me some basic information about how to move my character around the world, how to interact with things. It's, you're moving like one space at a time, and every time you move, the state of the world changes. It's like that. But now I still have room to like play around and figure out exactly how everything works. And I'm on my first quest, and I think I'm into it. it has this sense of like, oh, I could just go in any direction and discover things in any way I want. And that is, of course, very exciting to me. And it also feels like it's not necessarily like Dwarf Fortress, which is a similar vibe. It's also an ASCII game. But that's like, there is a hill to climb to get on the other side of like just learning how to operate that game. This one, it's like, no, you're just moving a little character around a world, and they are going to go have conversations with people who are either going to give them quests or might have some items to buy. They'll have some fun stuff to say about the state of their village or whatever, and then you'll move on. And then when you have like relationships with those people, when you talk to them, you say, hey, let's do the water ritual. I have some water. I brought you water. Let's have this moment where I'm connecting with you. Immediately, it's like, okay, you've improved your status with this village, but because another village hates this village, they've heard the tale of what you've done here, and now they hate you. So every action has a reaction, and that is very enticing to me. So I can see why so many people are into this game. I'm playing on Steam Deck, works really well with the controller. Okay. So I'm digging its vibes so far.
We always talked about trying to get into Dwarf Fortress Grubb, but I am also interested about Caves of Cud. Maybe we should check it out on the site.
Yeah, let's do that, because I'm kind of, like I said, I'm getting the hang of it, and as I get more of the hang of it, I might come in with some questions for the and maybe chat can help out and help us figure some stuff out. Apparently, Dwarf Fortress is getting an adventure mode. That's pretty neat. So something might be similar to this.
Just looking at screenshots of this game is kind of intimidating, but I can see the appeal.
Right, exactly. And again, for me, the processing stuff of just trying to figure out what I need to be paying attention to here, it like made me feel tired. It was like, oh my god, I need to go take a nap after looking at this screen for 5 minutes. But you get over that pretty quick because it's underneath. It's still just an adventure video game. You're just having a little guy go into a world. It's basically, there's a couple of buckets filled, and like one bucket is graphics, the other button is like interactive world ability. And in Skyrim, it's pretty even, right? And then you what if you took away all the graphics? You could fill up that bucket where everything in the world is interactive and is something you can mess around with. Well, they just filled that bucket up. So yes, that sounds like my jam.
All right. Yeah, I saw Caves of Cud had made, I believe, Nikki's top 10 list, made Ben Pack's top 10 games of last year as well.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about it at the end of the year, so I was excited to check it out.
Speaking about buckets, and a game that we're checking out that may not necessarily be our jam or my jam, I've been checking out Airborne Empire, which is a city builder game, and I'm not normally the type to play any of those because the management part stresses me the fuck out. But this one is a city builder game, but instead of building a city, you are building a floating city. So you are building like an airship city, and it's pretty neat. It's very cozy. It's cute. This is just a bunch of birds birding around. And you initially start with your little town center, and from there you build out with these little pathways. And then you'll build like your building that gathers resources, another one that researches for future developments and improvements. But the fun thing is you 100% have to worry about the weight of your structure and tilt. So and the tilt all factors in from the very center of your ship, your town center. So
is that physics based, or is it like is it just like a meter that's filling up or something like that? I guess maybe it's hard to see the difference.
It's a little hard to tell the difference because I initially started building to the right of my town center, and the game immediately told me, it's like, you're fucking up, dude. You're fucking up. Disassemble this now.
Okay.
And the interesting thing, because you are an airship, is your settlement is not static. So if you need to go gather up more resources like trees, fish for food, or visit a small neighboring town to recruit more townsfolk, you can just go over there. And if there's like a bunch of trees or resources on one part of the hub world map, and it's taking too long for the resources to get back to you, you can just go over there. Just go over there and hang out. It's interesting. Still fairly early on in the game, so my little hub city world is fairly small. But I've already run into shenanigans, and I kind of like a game like this, kind of just mostly dumping me in, because out of nowhere, I'd completed the first couple quests. I'm like, okay, cool. You need some iron and some trees to help rebuild your city. that's chill. I'm just gonna go gather some iron here and research some stuff. And then the game just has a giant flash warning of like, hey, there's pirates coming, watch out, you got pirates coming. And then I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? There's combat in this game. I thought this was just cozy. And then they attacked my airship, and then 3 of my people died. And I'm like, I feel so sad, but then we can rebuild. We'll rebuild this ship. So now I'm curious about these city builders, y'all.
Yeah, city builders are great. Play SimCity for Super Nintendo. That's a good one.
SimCity for Super Nintendo. I feel like all these roads of wanting to build and farm, it's just telling me to go to Stardew eventually.
Have you never done Stardew?
Never done Stardew.
Oh, yeah.
That's when we should do multiplayer, because that Stardew multiplayer thing happened. We should do that.
I have never done Stardew multiplayer, and you know how much I love Stardew. That'd be fantastic to do. Like, we all have a farm together. We all have our like roles and stuff. Yep. I would love that.
And it would be fun because I want to like go off on my own and do my little stuff. Like, I'll just make the beer, guys. Just let me make the beer. Everyone else handle everything else. Okay, well, help me with the beer.
We'll be the beer guys.
We'll be the beer guys.
We'll start a brewery and then we'll get rich and we'll break
you
off.
Can explain to Dan how
it's
fermented.
Yeah.
No,
he doesn't. No,
I'll be the taster.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I played the prequel to this game, Airborne Kingdom, which was
right.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of curious now what the differences are exactly between that and this, because just looking at
this one has an emperor.
It looks very similar. Well, yes, empires are bigger than kingdoms usually, but it still looks like you have like the one city.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Interesting. Looking at screenshots for Airborne Kingdom, Airborne Empire definitely seems more of a cozy game type of deal.
Yeah. Kingdom was definitely a bit more, I don't know, smoggy.
Sure.
Smoggy. Yeah, it was pretty smoggy.
Stay away from LA on the 14th. It's going to be a bit smoggy.
Jesus.
Sorry.
I hope
I
hope our friends. Speaking about LA, I hope all of our friends in LA are doing as okay as they can. Mike Minotti, what is Sonic Galactic?
Sonic Galactic is a new fan-made 2D Sonic game. It's kind of similar to Sonic Mania in a lot of ways. It's like, what if Sega made a 2D Sonic game for the Saturn? What would that have looked like? So, it's still pixel-based in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of animation frames. There's some 3D elements, especially in the bonus stages, and there's lots of parallax scrolling and other effects. But there's just a demo out right now with a few of the levels. There's 5 playable characters like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, sure. Also, Fang the Sniper, who's been a big character who's shown up before. And they also have an OC here, a mole kind of guy.
Monty Mole?
Not Monty Mole. I forget his name. But Sonic OCs can look ridiculous sometimes. This guy looks all right. Doesn't seem too bad. But just as a fan game, really spiffy. Like even the UI, the start menus, it all looks super professional. If this was actually a product released by Sega, nobody would bat an eye. And I love Sonic Mania, but the neat thing here is that these are all original zones, and they still feel great. They do that thing that Sonic Mania did I like, where like Zone 2 kind of is visually distinct from Zone 1, even though it's that same overall level. There's fun boss fights. It's just overall very impressive. They even give Sonic this neat move. Like, in Sonic Mania, you can like hold down the jump button, so you do that spin dash immediately when you touch the ground. Well, now you could do that on walls. So you can kind of do like wall running, like vertical, like spin dashing as Sonic, and then jump off it for little extra movement stuff. And like I was playing as Fang, and Fang basically has a double jump. But when he does the double jump, he shoots his little like pellet gun thing below him. So that was pretty nifty for boss fights and some other enemies, and of course for the movement. But if you love Sonic Mania and were disappointed by Sonic Superstars not being that, I would check this out for sure. It's got that free demo right now. It's Sonic Galactic.
Mike, I tuned into you playing that for a bit, and I was immediately sold on the look. It looked awesome. At first, I was like, "Oh, is this like a GBA thing it's going for?" But then Saturn made sense. And then you got to the bonus zone, and it's like, "Oh, this is Monkey Ball." If it was like Sonic on the Saturn doing Monkey Ball, it's like, "Oh, that looks fantastic to me." So yeah, it seems like they killed it.
Yeah, this was cool.
Yeah, shout out to Sega for like being okay with their fans making these kind of games. They're so not Nintendo in that way, and I really respect that.
Sega's pretty cool, huh? Well, speaking about Sonic Galactic, Jeff Grubb, you have been in the stars yourself with Star Wars Squadrons.
Yeah, it's good at this.
Yes, I've been in a weird place with trying to like start up games. I'm having a hard time focusing, so I'm like looking for something smaller, but I'm also like not in the mood for like to start out mouthwashing because that seems like a game I should be reverent of when I start it. Like I should have like some ability to pay attention to what's going on. So I'm like, why don't I like just turn on the Steam Deck and find some games I installed on a whim, whatever, and maybe finish something else in the meantime. And so I went back to Star Wars Squadrons, which it turned out I had not gotten nearly as far in as I had remembered. And it's okay. It's only an okay game. I think the basic premise of here's how we're going to make this combat interesting, which was you're going to have management over your energy distribution on the ship. So at any time you can press the D-pad to send more power to your weapons, to your shields, or to your engines. And then if you hit down on the D-pad, you'll have even distribution across everything. Stuff we've seen before. They're like, oh, let's bring this in here and see if we can make this game work with that. And it's okay, but it's like I think maybe the feedback is a little bit difficult to tell. Like, is this helping me in this moment? What is the difference in my ship? Sure, I feel faster when I put more energy in my engines. Yeah, but other than that, like I don't really feel anything when I send it to the shields or even to the weapons. So it's that basic premise already is a little bit fizzling out for me, and then it's just dogfighting. It's just flying around, shooting other ships down. And occasionally we will have a bigger ship come through, and you're still going to have to take out the TIE fighters first before you go on to take on the bigger ship so that you don't get shot down from the side while you're actually focusing on the bigger ships. And the Star Wars-ness of it is also maybe a little underwhelming. It's just kind of like paint by numbers. It felt, it feels very much like what this game is. EA had the Star Wars license. They wanted to get one more game out. So they're like, hey, can we do this, or we can maybe make a smaller project for a lot less money. It'll take a lot less time. Let's do that one. And that's 100% what this is. And it feels like it. All that said, I think it's, it's fine. It's not a bad game. It's just fine.
I distinctly remember my first experience with that because I was so excited when, I heard about it. It's like, oh, hell yeah, new Rogue Squadron. And I downloaded it when it came out. I was like, here we go, Rogue Squadron is back, baby. And then it was like right away, like, press this to, redirect your energy toward. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I played like 10 minutes. And I was like, this is not Rogue Squadron at all. I don't know.
Even beyond that, it doesn't have the juice of Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron's like, here is an awesome new planet you're going to like be flying over, and then when we do take you to space, it's going to be in a cool nebula. A lot of this is just empty space. And early on,
I'm still like very sim. Early. It didn't feel like the 64 games were just like, hey, these are just fun shooters.
I think it was maybe trying to take more from those classic X-Wing games, right?
I think it's trying to straddle the line. It was trying to.
See, I never played those.
See, I never did either. Stuff. And people are very reverent towards those, but it's just something I completely missed out on. And Jeff, I don't know if you ever played X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Not
in the day, and I've only tried it a couple times and have not been able to click with it. So yeah, I also come from Rogue Squadron. That is my Star Wars flight arcadey kind of game. And this is definitely not. It's like it's taking sim elements and applying to that, and I think again it just kind of feels mushy in the middle.
You know how this game does rule though? If you play this game, and I'm not usually a VR guy, but this game with VR and with like a flight stick, then this game has lots of juice all of a sudden.
I could see that.
I think that's kind of what I ended up deciding on, Mike, was it's like, oh, I have the Oculus where I could just stream that from Steam over to the headset. I will get the flight stick I have out that actually like looks kind of like the flight stick they're using in this X-Wing anyhow. So I'm going to try that. And then if that really sticks with me, maybe I'll play some more of this game.
Well, Grubb, you were talking about riding the lines while Mike Minotti is driving through all the lines in Parking Garage Rally Circuit.
Yeah, somehow randomly on my stream, I just mentioned how much I like parking garages. Like, I like the vibe. I like the aesthetic of parking.
You like to stand in the shadows of it and say hello to people that are trying to go to their car?
There's something to them. I don't know. I feel cozy in a parking garage.
Like massive concrete structure.
It's after a sports
game. The brutalist,
game,
the Pog Slammer.
Everybody's going back to their cars, and you're either like, oh, like, yeah, we got him, or everyone's like, oh, can you believe this shit? The camaraderie is good in the parking garage.
I was describing that Seinfeld episode.
No. They hated it. They got lost for a while. It was bad. So this is a racing game set in parking garages, and it's kind of rally style. It's very drift heavy, and the drifting here it's more Mario Kart than say Sega Rally, right? You just push
right.
the button, you start drifting, you get the sparks, you let go, you get the boost. Neat things here. Once again, very heavy Sega Saturn aesthetic, and specifically that to the point where it's like we're not doing transparencies, we're doing dithering effects for that kind of thing, right? So that looks fantastic. And I'm just a sucker for that blocky, like, oh, we just learned how to add textures to 3D models. Isn't that cool? Kind of vibe. But there is something about racing in these parking garages, right? You have a lot of tight turns, so the drifting is very responsive to get you through those. And also the parking garage levels are all based on like actual semi-famous parking garages. Like there's the Seattle Airport parking garage. There's the Mall of America parking garage, Dan. I got very excited for that. I was like, Dan took me here once.
It's a good one, yeah.
Right. And like
Dan took me to the parking garage.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And like sometimes level like go outside for a bit, like in the Minnesota level or Minneapolis level, you were in the snow for a while. There's even some Levolution stuff, like on the one level, a lightning hit the power supply, so then the lights were off, so we had to use our headlights to see, kind of thing. And then maybe the best thing about the game, a ska soundtrack.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Incredible Crisis. Yeah.
It is a good sound. What's great is like each track does have a different song. And then like there's 2 tracks where suddenly there are like lyrics too. And then like we're really going hard on this one. And I'm just totally vibing out to that stuff. But yeah, it felt really good to control. There were times where, if you kind of like sequentially get your boost, you start going like really fast. And sometimes it was like, okay, now I'm out of control. Because again, these turns are really tight. And also there's ramps everywhere because it's a parking garage. And sometimes you would just shoot off the ramp and out of the level. And I'm like, well, what? I have to go fast. Am I just boosting at the wrong time here? Might just be a skill issue on my part. But, messing around with it for 30 minutes, seeing every track, racing through, I had a great time with this. It's very cheap. It's like $10 or something.
This is the one when I was in my Sega Rally moment last year, where I was like really just kind of couldn't stop thinking about that game. And I was looking for a successor, and everyone kept giving suggestions. And then there was the Steam Next Fest that had a bunch of them in there. This was one of them. Of all of the successors to that game, this is the one I thought was the most interesting because it wasn't trying to be exactly Sega Rally, and all the ones that weren't as good as Sega Rally. But the real thing for this one was, hey, maybe I would play this one, but I would kind of need my friends to be playing setting times that I could compete against. Mike, if I go in there, start setting some times, would you try to beat mine, or do you not know?
I think that'd be fun. Like the whole way the game works is very like ghost based, because again, these courses are pretty tight, so you can't actually have like multiple real cars with physics and collision there. So even when you're doing the races by yourself, you see like a gold ghost, and that's like the time you have to beat to get first. There's a silver ghost. There's a bronze ghost. Bronze ghost. Browns ghost. I'm just thinking about my terrible football team. But it also like makes, once you do it once, you have your ghost there too, right? And yeah, there are leaderboards just built in right away. So I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Speaking of the leaderboards thing, I feel like I neglected to mention on this podcast that Grubb did confidently say that at the end of 2024, the person who is at the top of the leaderboards on Astrobot,
I think I might have said the end of 2025. I think I said the end of 2025.
It's on Blue Sky. I've seen the post. I beat you. I beat Minotti. I beat Jesse Vitelli. I beat Kayla. I beat everyone. I destroyed everyone at the Astrobot speedrun thing, and I also won Fantasy Critic. But just want to make sure it's said on the Giant Bombcast that I did officially, for real, win the Astrobot leaderboard.
It was definitely because of persistence, because everyone else kind of got busy and little like burnt out to be able to keep playing the speed. Like I just didn't play the last couple ones, but sure, Dan, you did it.
You did win, and I did say I would, and I didn't. So I still intend to go back and do something about this. But you're right, it won't count at that point.
And as we decided, now both of you have to play Drake and the 99 Dragons once I'm done with Terminator.
Why does it keep saying this like that's gonna work? Yeah.
Okay.
I should have won something. I didn't win anything for Fantasy Critic either.
Well, you won our admiration.
We should have something for the winner this time. We'll do the Fantasy Critic
retroactive. Venmo me.
Should we give Dan first pick then? Is that advantageous?
No.
Or he should be the...
Is that advantageous? I don't know.
Well, maybe if you're the
mathemat-
anchor,
Mathematically, in like traditional fantasy sports, it doesn't matter because you do the snake draft.
Sure,
but
yeah.
for this, it seems like it might. I would say if you won, you would go last though. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
What if I go first and last?
Since he didn't get a prize, maybe that does make sense.
Now, let's
get a
give him something
prize.
else because I want to win fantasy. I don't want to give him another advantage at that.
Fair
Just
enough.
I'd rather just give him money than let him pick. For
I
us
would. Yeah,
actually.
I would like the money. Yeah.
Okay. Folks, I've been spending way too much time with Marvel Rivals. Oh my god, we're not even gonna have an extended segment about it, but it has taken over my life in such a terrible way, where I feel the toxicity coming out of my veins because I've become the toxic gamer, and this is why I never got into Valorant. This is why I got out of League, because I know the type of person I would become. That being said, Sue Storm, great support character. Reed Richards, great character. Just pretend he's a tank. I need a cozy game to cozy up to. And Dan, I think you might just put this back on my radar. I love this game, and the microwavable pizza with the same name as well, Celeste.
Yes. Yeah. It's just another one that like I've kind of always meant to go back to, and now that things are a bit quieter.
Oh, so
right
you haven't
now.
played Celeste like for real before that?
I started it back in the day, and I didn't have like a real reason I quit it. I didn't hate it or anything. I just didn't keep going. And then like I feel like the tone around that game, like people keep talking about being one of the best platformers ever. I saw, when I was putting together like top 100 lists the last 25 years, people were like, "Oh, Celeste has got to be on there." So yeah, I've had numerous times over the years been like, I should go back to that. I went back to it. It's a very good platformer. It's very, very good. It is it's one that is the right amount of challenging, where it reminds me of some of those like really hard like Prince of Persia the crown thing platformer, the really hard like optional platforming things.
Yep.
And, really having to look at a screen and be like, all right, I've got one dash. And then once I get over there, I'll recharge the dash. But then that's coming over here. Like, you have to think it through. And it's a screen by screen challenge with very generous checkpointing. So it's like you're never going back further than just like where you were earlier in that screen. So you're going to die hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. But I never felt too annoyed by it. It's just like, hey, get back on the horse there. Great Steam Deck game, obviously. Music's fantastic. Yeah, it's also one that like I can't even imagine going for 100% completion, which I usually do. Like, every Mario, I get all the green coins or bonus stars or whatever. This one, it's like I started being like, I'm gonna get all these strawberries, and then it's just like you get later on, and some of these rooms are like, this is hard enough. I am not fucking dashing through 9 sets of spikes, and then then I have to do the level after that. Like, so yeah, it's very, very challenging. It's fantastic though,
and you want to like just play through the game because it does ramp up in a very neat way. Like, yeah, there's a lot there that you want to just see. And the optional stuff is fun. There's all those B-side and C-side extra hard challenges. It's fun to try maybe a couple of those. I wouldn't expect you to do all of them, but it's neat to see just how crazy difficult the game can get.
Yeah, and there's like a whole like old version of the game on the like this fake console or this computer, the Pico. Yeah. So it's got all those challenges and stuff. It's thematically, I thought it was just going to be all like, okay, snowy mountain challenges, but then it's like, oh, now I'm in this hotel and I have to clear this clutter through platforming, and it's stayed interesting throughout. So
there's one part that will relate to you pretty well. I don't know if you got there yet. You know what I'm talking about, but yeah, there's interesting stuff going on in the game. It's just fantastic.
You
all
poop.
around.
That's what Mike's getting at.
Healthy.
Yeah, Maddie starts having really good long poops. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a good game. Like
All
quite a
those
bit.
after all those strawberries, you're so regular.
Yes. What am I gonna do once I'm done with Celeste and Red Dead 2, and I've had the Death Stranding turn? All these, what do I have to play JRPGs or something?
You gotta apologize for all the
metaphor.
things you said about Link's Awakening.
No.
And I've played that several times. It's not
Mirror's, I need to watch you play Mirror's Edge because I'm still so confused how you don't like Mirror's Edge. It feels bad. It's the best feeling game ever.
Okay, wait. We've talked about doing something possibly this week that would involve a competition.
Yeah.
Can we have it so the winners get to pick a game that the loser has to... The winner gets to pick the 2 losers' games that they have to play to completion, not necessarily on stream?
This
Like a book club?
Dan, this feels like you're getting out of Blight Club. This feels like you're trying to figure out.
It doesn't impact Blight Club at all.
Okay, as long as there is you cannot say Drake in the 99 Nights, even if it is off the side, not on stream.
No, and it's not, no. And for the record, it's not a play a bad game thing. It's play this game that you have not played that I think you would like.
Is this not to say that Hyrule Hustle wasn't a legitimate competition, but what are the rules in this thing that we're planning?
Okay,
it's
Dan,
not like
can we
Hyrule
talk about
Hustle.
it? Dan,
Yeah,
talk
let's
about
talk
it.
about it.
Are
It's
we
a thing
committing
we
to
have-
it on Friday?
We're committing to it on
Let's
Friday.
commit to it on Friday. It's
All right,
it's
Dan, please.
it's Bowser's Hurry, which I believe is going to be. Is it me, Grubb, and Minotti competing?
I think Sean might have had interest a long time
Oh,
ago.
okay,
yeah.
so-
Sean, yeah.
3 or 4 of us at the same time booting up Bowser's Fury, which I have not played since like the week it came out. I beat it all in like 2 sittings. How
Same.
about you guys?
My kids have played it like 2 years ago, and I haven't touched it since.
Hey, Mike?
Yeah, no, not since it came out and I reviewed it and I said how many catch signs were in it and
Okay.
Nintendo got mad.
Well, there's 100, and I think we should have to. It's a race to get 100 cat shines in one sitting between 3 or 4 of us.
So
Oh.
the race isn't to beat the game, it's to 100% it?
I think it's.
What?
What do you
100%
think?
is like takes a lot longer,
Yeah, I
right?
think
I
it's
think
to
it was
beat
like
it.
5 years to get 5 hours to get all of them. I think.
Let me double check.
That
I think
seems ambitious. I think you just want to beat the game, right?
because we could beat it in like 3 to 5 hours. Let's see
Okay,
here.
yeah. Nikki's saying 5 hours. Yeah, it's like 5. I remember doing it in 2 sittings, and it was like 5 hours to get
Okay.
all of them.
Sure.
And for the fucking record, right
Workshop
now,
that.
nobody will call me cheating here. Bowser amiibo valid.
What?
What?
So get yourself a Bowser amiibo.
No. What are you
No.
talking about?
What are you
I'm not
talking
gonna go
about?
buy an
My problem
amiibo.
that you don't have the right, the accessories.
What does it do? And wouldn't it just be easier to say it's not valid?
Yes, it would
No,
be easier
because
to
I
say-
have it, so it's easy for me.
Oh.
Yes, it's not valid then.
Okay.
Great.
No,
that's not
listen. The one thing that's annoying about that game is the Fury Bowser that pops up and fucks everything up. This just makes
So?
me go back to
That's
Deal
a
with it. Be
mechanic.
a fucking gamer.
You go to a Target and buy a fucking Bowser amiibo.
They're not at Target. They don't have that.
You got to get it from Amazon. Any Bowser amiibo will make Fury Bowser
Yeah.
shut
But
up.
how about this? How about we do a vote? Are the Bowser amiibos allowed?
No.
Yays.
Amazon Bowser amiibo.
Even if you said it to me, I still don't think we should do it. That's the game. That's literally one of the hallmark mechanics of the game. Is Bowser gets mad and starts attacking you.
So,
Sometimes.
yeah,
There's multiple cat shines you can only get while he's doing that.
But what do you mean?
yeah,
like,
but
what
you
is it? What
choose
happens
when he goes away? It makes
What
him go
happens
away.
when you use the amiibo?
It makes him go away. If he's just being
What?
an
You can
asshole.
just play the
like,
game. You can make him go away.
Yeah, but you have to
If you
wait.
just get a cat shine, he goes away. Any
Uh,
cat shine.
All right, fine. I was debating whether I should be a little stinker and just pull it out, and,
Oh my
or
God.
like, all
Well,
right.
you know,
Well,
good
Here
I-
I
you-
am being noble
You
again.
You made the
and I
right
was
choice
punished
in not
for it.
doing that. That would have sucked.
Yeah.
All
Also,
right,
to be
so-
clear, we're beating the game in 3 hours. We're not spending 6 hours to play it to 100% it. So somebody at the end's like, I don't know where my last one is. I gotta go look at a guide. Just beat the game. It's more fun if everyone figures out their own routes to figure out how to get the cat shines that they need. Not to get literally every cat shine.
I thought we were doing all of them. Grubb, what do you
But we're
think?
not. You're not wrong.
I think that 100% in it could be kind of a pain because it's gonna turn into a hunt for the last 3, and that's gonna like lose a lot of momentum. I think.
Sure.
Also, I can't do something for 6 hours straight on this site during my normal job.
This is gonna be like when I wanted to do every Mario Kart race in one sitting, and then you guys talked.
immediately.
And you guys talked me down to just the Mario Kart 8 ones,
And
and
then-
it still took like 7 hours.
Yes.
and then we did a podcast in the middle of it.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Maybe just. You know what? I've come to an idea. Why don't we just beat the game? We don't do 100%.
There you
That's
go.
a good idea.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
I think
okay.
Bowser Amiibo is not allowed.
Oh, look at you.
And come on. Oh, all right,
Look, I'm
fine.
just-
Listen,
these are good ideas. from
Creative
me.
director spoke. All right,
yeah.
fine.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for understanding.
I don't. Yeah, I think I remember I asked Bailey if she wanted to participate, not fully telling her the picture, and then suddenly she had to hang out with us for 6 hours.
Mhm.
So long.
Great
God.
time. Great time. Great time.
Yeah. And I was like dying in pain, like pre-surgery at the time too. So it was just a rough day. I was playing Mario Kart.
But
Yeah, it's
at
real
the end,
difficult.
you did look like you had been through it.
I
Yeah.
was hurting by the end.
Yeah,
I'm like,
well, Mario Kart is pretty mid. I get it.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
do you think that is that a Mike Minotti opinion?
He's just not very good at it.
I think that there's no Mario Kart that's like more than an 8 out of 10 is all it is.
I would say there's none that are less than a 9, except for Super Circuit.
Less than a 9. Yeah, sure.
Super Circuit's like an 8. The rest are 9 or above.
9 or above. I definitely think that Mario Kart is in general a bit overrated. Yes.
Wow. Wait, now Nikki in the chat saying double dash fucking blows. That's
wrong.
The second best one.
Yeah, that's the second best one.
Oh,
that one's like a 7.5. It's one of the best ones.
Oh, that's a 9.75, brother.
9.75, brother.
All right, folks, we're going to go determine actual game scores during a quick bricky break. And then Jeff Grubb will be back with the Switch 2 right after this. Would it be incredibly wasteful because I enjoy the taste of coffee coming out of paper cups, to replace all of my mugs with just paper cups?
He's wasteful, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's news to me.
But the amount of waste produced is so minuscule compared to like what happens on industrial scale that don't feel bad. Live your life how you want to live it.
Okay. What if I just open up my own coffee cart and then I write off the paper cups?
Well, then that's just smart business,
Ooh,
man.
That's smart.
I got an idea. Use paper cups, but just wash
Sorry,
those.
sorry. I don't know why it keeps going. It's supposed to
It's
stop.
okay. This is a good segue. Just wash your paper cups. Use those over and over again. If they get a little soggy,
Yeah,
that's
it's gonna
okay.
get
Yeah, give me
that's
soggy.
weird.
Well, they're meant to. They're cups. They're meant to get wet.
Oh,
Well, then you dry them.
Yeah, put them in the air dryer for a bit. Air fryer, not air dryer. The air fryer.
So what the fuck is the laundry
Just
room
for the
dryer?
microwave, just for a little bit. Not too
Okay.
long. They'll dry up, and then you can put the coffee in them.
All right, stop interrupting. Gaming leaks
I
and
might be the
rumors.
weird one.
Leaker of the year. Thank you, everybody. Take that, Jason Schreier.
Congratulations, Jeff. Leaker of the
Thank
year. I meant
you.
to say something. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, I did not even know that was happening. It was, and people kept like messaging, like, what are you talking about? And then I found it. And of course, number 2, Jason Schreier. Eat shit, Jason.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pretty embarrassing show,
Pretty embarrassing for Jason Schreier.
right?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks, I guess. Switch 2 this week, huh? Podcaster Hate the Hate claims that Nintendo Switch 2 will be revealed this Thursday, January 16th. This is everywhere now. As soon as he said this, everyone who had been sitting on this stuff, which was everybody, immediately came out and corroborated this. I've heard this a couple times as well. I've heard from people who have heard this and were like, oh, man, I think this is happening. Yeah. Sounds like this is very likely to be the case. The showing this week will be a focus on hardware, guys. So it's going to be maybe kind of like that first Switch video where there's a possibility that there's a game that a man is playing on a TV or something like that, or that the lady takes to the rooftop party. But we are not going to get a lot of details about any games. And there's a possibility we won't get any games at all.
Oh.
But at least it's a start, right? This is going to kick it off. And then they have to keep talking about Switch 2 after that, right?
I feel like it was the initial Switch hardware reveal, the rooftop party one, where there were like 2.5 seconds of someone playing Mario Odyssey, and I think I remember like frame by framing it and just being like, "Oh fuck, he's throwing his hat. What's going on with that?" You know, like. So we might get some little teases, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a little weirder this time, just because with the Switch 1, just showing the hardware itself was so exciting.
Right.
Sure.
Here, like, 1, it is just going to be a Switch again anyways, and 2, the things that are different, like the magnetic Joy-Cons, we've known about for like a month or something. Yeah, so part of me's like, oh, please just also show me the new Mario game, right? Because they're not going to probably get into too many details like pricing or release date, maybe even. They certainly aren't going to give us specs right away. But even still, it'll be just a happy relief to finally see them talk about this thing officially and show it off.
In terms of like release date, remind me, because I remember a while ago they said like, oh, fiscal year 1 or whatever by the end of March or April, whatever. Was it that they are going to announce it or they are going to release it? Just announce it. Okay, so it could technically still be like holiday this year?
Well, so the rumors now are, and these are starting to feel a lot more likely at this point, is that on Wednesday, they say, hey, tune in tomorrow. We're going to have a reveal of the Switch 2. On Thursday, there's the reveal of the Switch 2. Then in February, we get the big blowout with all of the actual games at that point. And then the system is out in April. So
awesome.
we won't be waiting to the holidays. And really, the way that this is shaping up, this playbook that they're going by, based on what we know so far, which isn't everything, and things could change. Nintendo doesn't always do things like, oh, we did it that way before, we're going to do it that way again. But if we do assume some more commonality there, it does feel like they are leading up to a release sooner rather than later, because announcing it now and they'd be like, I guess, buy it this holiday. I don't think they would actually go that route. So April sounds really plausible.
Ooh, playing new Mario this April, that sounds wild. Ooh.
Yep.
Damn,
And again, I remember there was an internal delay that this thing was probably supposed to be out late last year. So they probably weren't thinking like a year-long delay when they did that. And it seems like that's the case.
You know what I'm curious about is still like that network test for that weird builder game they did.
That leaked a little bit. There was more footage of that, and again, I played that thing. I think it's super interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, listen, there's a lot going on in there. That is not just some like test that they're gonna just throw out and forget about. It had like a 80-track soundtrack in the game. Like they've done a lot of work on it. So that probably does like launch alongside Switch 2 or something.
That's
like
what I was curious about.
I could see that. Yeah.
8 fucking years since a mainline Mario game. That's insane.
Yeah.
What is time?
Man, Bowser's Fury. Do I think that's a mainline Mario game? I think
it's a little.
It's
a
a
fuzzy.
taste of what the next mainline Mario game should be.
Yeah,
That's
it's definitely It definitely was the next mainline Mario game that they were making, and then they sort of abandoned it. Like they must have had like bigger ideas even than that, and that's
I think a
really
blueprint
exciting.
for the next mainline Mario post Odyssey. Yes.
Yeah. Trying to think if there's other things to mention here before we get to some like other related stories. Yeah, just that like when people are talking about this, like Kit and Krista, they're like, yeah, Nintendo sees all the leaks. They have their plan, and they are going to stick to it no matter what. And that seems to be what a lot of people are saying as well. That yeah, Nintendo saw that stuff happening. Sure, they were aware of it, and maybe even they went up and talked to Genki, one of the companies primarily responsible for leaking all of that stuff. But that was not going to force them to, change their hand and be like, okay, guess we're going to announce this thing now. They know that most people are the vast majority of the audience they're going to sell this thing to are not paying attention to those leaks. So yeah,
I almost do hope that they have a rooftop party in the new ad. I mean,
me
come
too.
on.
Nope.
I hope they're that self-aware.
What if it's a basement party? What if they bring it
Okay.
all the way down?
Or like
Parking garage party.
submarine.
Parking garage party. Yeah, okay.
A
So
steel diver.
The moon.
What if the big first party game is Steel Diver?
Still divers
submarines.
too.
No, they made it 2.
Oh shit!
I always forget that too. Yeah, Steel Diver 3. But it's like Drive 3 or it's Steel Dive.
Yeah.
Three.
Oh
Yeah.
hell yeah!
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
good. I'd like it.
Assassin's Creed games and Metal Gear Solid Delta could release on Switch 2. Switch 2 is rumored to get revealed. Ubisoft is reportedly developing more than half a dozen games for the Switch 2. Not surprising. They always support
always
new
do
hardware
this.
right away. So Assassin's Creed Shadows, sure, but there's probably going to be like Assassin's Creed Mirage, ready? Like
They're
ready
nuts.
to go right at launch.
Odyssey.
Any hardware going back forever, like the fucking Wii balance board, they're like, we're doing Rayman Raving Rabbids TV
right.
party, and you can use the balance board.
I mean, the
It's like,
VR, all the VR headsets, they had stuff for
Yeah.
that.
they're all in on the Wii Arkham City Armored Edition.
Yeah.
It's to the point where like there was that
Wait, that's not
VR.
That's
not Ubisoft at all. What the fuck am I talking about?
You
Yeah.
meant Zombie U.
Yes, I was thinking about
There it
Zombie
is.
U. Yes.
Yeah, it's weird to the point where they had that VR like werewolf game that they made that then became a movie, and it's apparently the highest rated movie based on a video game property, and no one has ever played this video game before. Ubisoft's weird. Anyway, Metal Gear Solid Delta also probably coming out in 2025, and maybe going to line up for an relatively early launch window release for the Switch 2, and maybe that's one of the reasons we haven't heard the release date for it. Like, I think Konami, still being a Japanese focused company in a lot of ways, is like, no, we got to be on Nintendo's hardware. That's where games are sold, and we'll get to a story later on that does confirm that, like in Japan, games basically only sell on the Switch. So that might be a part of it, of them being like, hey, let's just wait till the Switch 2 is ready, and then we'll just launch it on everything at that point because we know it'll be able to run on there. So that sounds right to me. I think a lot of companies are going to be lining up to support the Switch 2, even like Ubisoft, obviously, but even some that were hesitant about Switch 1 will be there for Switch 2's launch, right?
Right. And it'll be interesting to see companies like Capcom that had to like make a Switch version of a game like Monster Hunter Rise instead of just porting Monster Hunter World. Are we just going to get Monster Hunter Wilds like on the Switch 2 relatively early? Are we going to see a lot of these Resident Evil games ported over there? I mean, that is like just immediately going to give the Switch 2 a somewhat exciting early library. Like, hey, this game is now on Switch 2 and it runs really well. You don't have to get some shitty cloud version or something.
That's right. All right. If I were to say that at that Xbox Developer Direct next week, that they were going to have a mystery new game, and now it's reportedly going to be a new entry in a legendary Japanese IP that goes back decades, what are your guys' guesses?
Resident Evil?
Okay, Resident Evil. I think that's a good guess. What about like a Dragon Quest? Was it 12? 12.
12. Yes, 12 is the next one. They've announced that and haven't said anything for a while.
You know what?
Mega
They
Man.
announced it, and it's like, and the mystery game is supposed to be something that's brand new. So maybe that's not it.
What if it's Persona? Xbox is green. Shauna is obsessed with that green bucket of paint.
Yeah, but maybe Persona. The guys, they released 2 games last year, right? Those 2 different teams now. So I don't know if they're quite right. I don't know if they got one in the chamber right now yet.
They
What
wouldn't
if
make a
it's
big
Spark
deal out of it.
Cloud?
Like, I think Persona's too niche if they're building.
Yeah,
it up,
sure.
you know?
Yeah. How many
There's
copies do you think
this.
Persona 5 sold?
200,000.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's 2 franchises that like come to mind for me, and it's that new rumored Castlevania from Konami, and the other one is Ninja Gaiden, because Xbox has a real long
Oh.
history with Ninja Gaiden.
I would love a Ninja Gaiden.
And I think both of those are possible. And I think I would prefer to see what's going on with Castlevania, but Ninja Gaiden would be awesome as well. But yeah, I don't know any other guesses here because I don't really know. I think I mentioned Oblivion maybe being the remake of Oblivion being that. When they said it's a brand new game, that's probably not the mystery game that they're referencing. Although I still think there's a chance we get information about Oblivion at this. Direct.
I'd love to see Oblivion. Hey Dan, how would you feel if I said Persona 5 sold more copies than Metal Gear Solid 5?
There's just no way.
Well, there's this way. It's true. So eat my.
Every gamer I've ever talked to knows Metal Gear Solid. The only people that play Persona host podcasts.
That's not true.
Offended by that. All right,
not true.
That's true.
I don't know if he's wrong about that one, guys. There's a lot of podcasts out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You think Joe Rogan has played Persona?
No. He bought a PS5 for college football, I'm sure.
I don't know. I still feel good about my Resident Evil pick. Capcom's done so much stuff with Xbox lately and Game Pass and all that stuff. I mean, maybe it's too hopeful, right? Because that's such a big deal. Resident Evil.
Yep, I would love to see that.
Yeah, they could do that themselves, right? Capcom could they don't need Xbox for that.
That's right. Same with Persona. I think it's both those are in the same bucket of like they have their audience and they know how to talk to them. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. Ninja Gaiden though, that could use a developer.
They did say the words Mega Man for a little bit there at one point. I don't know if I'm really gonna get my hopes up for that, but that'd be cool.
Nah.
I was joking, but that would be cool.
Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake gameplay updates have reportedly leaked. This is being developed by Virtuos. It has been rumored for some time. Apparently, they're going to be reworking a lot of the gameplay features as well, including a reworked stamina, sneaking, blocking, archery, hit reaction, and HUD systems. To the point where it's going to feel very different and maybe improved. Because Oblivion, that's an old game now. That's I mean, God, we're almost 20 years old for that. Yeah, so 19 years old. Jesus. So yeah, I think that them going in there and remaking some of that stuff is interesting, but I think it also speaks to earlier rumors where that this was going to be a visual remake on top of the systems from the original game. Now, if they're adjusting the systems of the original game, that maybe suggests they're remaking the entire thing in Unreal Engine 5. So this could be more of a remake than initially suggested. That's pretty cool. I like Oblivion a lot, so I'm very excited about that.
Oblivion still feels like a new game to me. Like a newer game,
That's why, it's like one Elder Scrolls ago, right? So yeah.
Yeah, like I wouldn't consider, like in my head, it's not like a retro game, but when you say almost like 20 years, like fucking Jesus.
It's definitely a retro game, yeah.
Wow. Well, it's like how do we define retro game? It depends anymore, right? Because it's like in my mind, there's like some separation between pre-Xbox 360 and post-Xbox.
Right, but that line is getting blurrier every day. And eventually Xbox 360 is going to have to cross that Rubicon, and it feels like it's closer than
That's my cutoff for collecting retro is like 360 is the most recent console that I collect.
Okay.
But also everything just kind of turned to downloads after that anyway, so.
Yeah.
Sure.
I can't wait to play Oblivion again. That game rules. It also has an incredible expansion with Shivering Isles. Patrick Stewart's in it. Boromir is in it. Really great quest chains there, right? With like the Dark Brotherhood and stuff like that. So
is Patrick Stewart alive?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's just
84. Wow.
He's still going. He's probably gonna live to be 100. Really? Yeah, he's good, clean living. Okay, Mike, get out the goggles, get out the science jacket, get out our water tank. It's time to put some noises underwater because Sega has trademarked Echo the Dolphin.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, the trademarks were made public on January 14th, so today. And Sega's intentions for the IP are unclear. But this seems in line with their recent initiative of taking classic properties and making new games based on them. They have a lot of those. It's not just like we're going to dabble in this. This is a major thing that they're doing where they have 5 or 6 that they've announced already. And then there's like another 5 or 6 they were working on that they haven't announced. And maybe they're already queuing up something like Echo the Dolphin to follow up those. I want to see this. I like Echo the Dolphin.
Echo the Dolphin rules. And, there's definitely things about that game that then and now are abrasive. The level design, the puzzles, it's all pretty tough. But the things Echo did right, with just atmosphere and mood, are still really incredible. Especially back then, like right in 1990 or 1991. All these games, everything was like a cutesy, mascot platformer, or it looked like an 80s fantasy novel, right? Everything was very stylized, or cartoony. And here's a game where you just play as a dolphin, and it just
a
looks
shoot
like
dolphin.
a
Yeah.
dolphin. And there was like mysticism in it, but played within that realism. Like the great white whale is like this sage, right? There's aliens involved, and they look fucked up, and also realistic in a weird way. So yeah, like, doing some kind of modern Echo the Dolphin game that smooths out some of those harder edges gameplay wise, and you may just kind of make it a big Metroidvania sort of thing. Oh, that would be amazing. I'd be so excited for that.
If I were to check out an
exactly
Echo, which one should I go for?
Just play Echo 1 and vibe out for a bit, I think, is what you should do.
Or the
Play that
Dreamcast
Genesis
game.
version. Or
Dreamcast 1 had good water.
It's a good game.
it's good. That Dreamcast game always like it weirds me out because that's a game that got great reviews at the time. Everyone really liked it. No one talks about Echo Defender of the Future anymore.
What about Echo Junior?
I like Echo Junior because I was a kid
Fuck
myself.
Echo
so I was
Jr..
like, yeah, fuck that Echo Junior. The bonus stages in the second one, the Tides of Time, are really neat. Where you're kind of like going through the rings, right? It's kind of like Superman 64, but in water.
I like Echo the Dolphin, but I
great.
think.
Did you see there was a Superman 64 ring-based shirt, Dan, recently on Yeti or something?
Oh no,
I
really?
think that's sorry, Jeff.
No, it's okay. We should get that for you. I think as much as I like Echo, it's still my second favorite dolphin-based game. I think I like Dolphin Olympics more than that, the Flash game.
Don't even know what you're
If we're talking fish games, I was a James Pond guy.
Sure. Okay.
Not a Seaman guy?
I'm a big Seaman guy. What are you talking about? I'm
Well,
the
that's a
Seaman
fish
guy.
game.
I raised the Seaman like 2 years ago.
Guys, we did a whole live podcast where we talked about the Mount Rushmore video game fish. We didn't include Echo because
I love Seaman.
It's a memo.
Seaman was included on that, right? Was he on
The Mount
Mount
Rushmore.
Yeah.
Or is
Yeah, I
the
think-
George Washington?
I think
Yeah,
we
okay,
got Seaman on there. Don't worry. Yeah,
Good.
for
I was
sure.
worried. All right.
Give me Echo. I'm so excited.
Sony has a patent to fix latency issues in games by predicting player inputs in advance. So apparently there's multiple ways they might do this. One is just point a camera at your controller and watch what you're about to press and predict it as you're pressing it. And the other one's like incomplete inputs. So
Shut the fuck up and go outside, Sony.
I know. Well, you know who last did this and why they think it could work? Google Stadia was going to do this.
God damn it.
So it's a good idea.
I know I heard this before. I was like, this sounds familiar.
Yep. So yeah, that's just not what I want.
We're gonna ban an app, but we're completely fine with Sony pointing a camera at my ear holes and my hands.
Yeah. Send Mark Cerny your hands and your ear holes now. Negative latency. Thank you, Lexi. That's what Google Stadia said it was going to be. Reverse latency.
So
We're just so close till we have like programs where it's like AI is gonna play the game for you, and there are going to be some chuds who are gonna get like real excited about that. Where'd Jam go?
I think his camera broke.
Okay, here I am.
Oh, there you are. I was so scared, Jan. I was
There,
so scared.
there are things you can do that are similar to this, where it's like in RetroArch, where it has that run ahead latency.
the -1, -2 stuff. Yeah.
Yes, where it could, like it's running 2 frames ahead while you're playing, so that when you press or two frames behind, so when you press the button, it jumps back 2 frames and has that when you press the button, so it feels instantaneous and it works
crazy.
It works so well. It's crazy. I think it's like maybe the best way to play Punch Out, for example. It's nuts. So there's stuff they could do, but that's like requires you to be able to render 2 frames and jump back instantaneously, and that's going to be hard to do with modern games, which is why it's not really an option. All right, Hatsune Miku is and local multiplayer coming to Fortnite.
Local multiplayer?
What?
Yeah, let's see here. The Season 7 also introduces local multiplayer, requiring all players to have an Epic account and platform accounts. I think it's just going to be like locally you can all hop on at the same time.
Private servers?
Well, I don't know. It's weird. In Festival. This is Fortnite Festival Season 7. Yes, Fortnite Festival is a free-to-play rhythm action mode with a rotating selection of music. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm sorry. It'll be local multiplayer for this thing that could be like a party game, right? So that makes sense. A speedrunner played Crazy Taxi with a live band to avoid copyright issues. Did you guys see this?
That was
I watched
so
this.
cool.
It was awesome. I really wish I was there for that. That was a
So
really
if it's
good
a
time.
cover, you like it won't trip like a DMCA thing necessarily, or
Covers
No.
are, have their own rules and stuff like that. And if you were to produce a live cover, I think that you are mostly fine. If you try to
wow.
sell a cover as a recording,
Sure.
there's a set amount you have to pay the original artist, and that is like handled not by them. It goes to like the recording industry, and then they send that money to the artist. So yeah, there's a lot more protections for covers.
Yeah, that's why we did the cover for that Sarah McLachlan song.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll
The cover
remember
of
you.
Fresh.
But it actually
and Clean
eclipsed
or
that one
whatever.
on Spotify, so we kind of are seen as like the main one now.
Yeah, it's the one everyone remembers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, couple more here.
Well, wait, just about the
Please.
games done quick. I mean, we were there, Jeff. We had a great time with that. We went on Thursday. We got to see all of that Tears of the Kingdom run, which was super fun. Just I don't know. I'm just so impressed with everything that they do there. I was laughing because you had Emma on Game Mess Mornings yesterday, and she was just telling a story about Spike Vegeta randomly teaching her how to speedrun a Sonic game. And this was like the second year in a row where I've been too shy to even say hi to Spike Vegeta. By putting him up on some kind of pedestal.
Is that like a speedrunner?
Yeah,
He's
and
like
host.
Oh,
yeah, he's like one of the hosts of Awesome Games Done Quick that everyone knows by name.
Yeah.
yeah.
And what a cool name. I struggle so much with the whole like song copyright thing in these DMCAs. It's like, yeah, these people made songs and they deserve to be paid for their art, but I hate that it's somehow my problem when I want to go and stream Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, right?
Yep, absolutely. It feels like this stuff should have been figured out beyond that. Yeah, Mike's right though. It was awesome. It was a really good time. It was cool to just see such good vibes, good energy. I love Games Done Quick. Nintendo has dominated PlayStation in Japan for 20 straight years. That's a bunch of headlines today because once again, the top selling games in Japan for last year came out, and there were only 2 games that were not on Switch, and they were Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, the PS5 version for that. So yeah, and that's how it's been for 20 years straight. There was only 1 year where a Nintendo console wasn't the best-selling console in Japan. The Switch is now the number 1 best-selling console ever in Japan at like 35 million in total sales. And in that 20 years, the Wii U happened, and even that didn't slow down Nintendo in Japan. So yeah, imagine what it's like now with the Switch, this goes back and speaks to what we were talking about earlier. A lot of Japanese publishers are going to be there day one for the Switch 2. They will want to be seen as supporting that console and selling games on it. Yeah.
I just randomly remember we were doing a game of the year, must have been 2015 or so, and Patrick Klepek flew out to San Francisco to do our game of the year, and he brought his Wii U, and one of the like contenders for that year he had not played was Bayonetta 2, and he played it on the plane
Remember this.
on his Wii U by plugging in the console,
Oh,
putting it in
wow.
his seat back thing, having the cable come out, plug into the seat power, and then just playing it on the screen mode on the game.
That's a real gamer
Playing it
right
like that was the
there.
original Switch. Yeah.
Wow.
Real gamer.
That's the
Yes,
lengths
it's
we have to
insane.
go to. Now we have Steam Decks.
Yeah.
What a
And then,
wild
hey, last story here. Taki Udon is making a PS1 FPGA console that looks hot as hell.
Yeah.
It is based on that PS1, the ONE version, the slimmed down version. It's $150. It has full support for Mr. Cores, so you'll be able to play other things on there right out of the box. This thing is maybe ideal for a lot of people who are looking to get into this.
Ooh, this looks pretty.
It
Yeah,
looks cool.
pretty.
I'm
That
very
price is
interested.
Very reasonable.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks hot as hell.
It's 150 for the first run, then it goes up. Thank you, Vash Dan Danish. But yeah, get it because it's going to be worth it. Like this is the kind of thing where if you have had any interest in Mister up to this point, this is a good way to get
All
in.
right.
Now, he's had the Mr. Pi, which is a similar price, and maybe you could just go get that. But this one looks cool.
Great questions from Nikki in the chat. They say, "Hey, if I'm stupid, what is this for? Why would I want this?" And this is how I felt when I first started hearing people like, Peter Brown and Gersman talking about the Mister, and I was like, "This is some weird, like they're getting CRTs and stuff. Like, oh, this is way too deep in the weeds." And I've just been super deep in those weeds for years now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Grubb, you're smarter than me. Do you want to explain it?
I wouldn't say that, but it was. I think.
FPGA.
Yellow.
Well, I mean, what it is, it maybe is not the answer to Nikki's question of like why they would want it. It basically, it's there's a reason that there's so many retro gaming nerds who obsess over this stuff, and this is the scene that they're in. It's because there is a lot of excitement about getting hardware that can perfectly replicate older hardware. And then that stuff just works in perpetuity. You don't have to worry about like software emulators long term. The support there could decompose over time, and those ones maybe had shoddy support in the first place, where the games didn't run exactly the way that they're supposed to run. Maybe they run a little bit too fast. This is a big problem with N64 emulation. MVG just did a video about this recently about N64 emulators. Well, the hope is that Analog 3D, the FPGA version of this that Analog has, which is similar to this, going to be more expensive, but it's an N64 version, could solve a lot of those issues. Now, we'll wait and see on that. N64 still has some problems, even for FPGA. But for PS1 and a bunch of these other older consoles, this is a cool little device that is just going to support all your games. You're going to be able to put your ROMs on there. You can do whatever you want with it. And it's, and then it's also going to have long-term support because there is a huge scene behind it that is always trying to make it better.
And you can do fun stuff with it too, where it's like you can. Mine's hooked up to my CRT, and I've got adapters for all the actual controllers. So like I can play, PS1 games on a PS1 controller, and then I can plug in my Super Nintendo controller. Like it's just a much more accurate. It's emulation at a hardware level versus software, which is more accurate. I like it a lot.
And even if you didn't want to install those extra cores, like having the PS1 be like the one console you have for one of these things, that's a great one. There's so many fun, weird, and like interesting and seminal PS1 games.
Yeah, but it's for old heads. It is. It's if you are not interested in playing a lot of older games, this is don't spend the money on it. That's clearly what this is. All right, Jan, I think I'm done with the headlines. Yep, no more headlines. Handing the show back over to you.
Wow, this show needs to take a quick nap. It needs to go take a breath of fresh air, much like Sony does. We don't need AI to tell me what buttons I'm going to press. I won't let them know. I'm going to keep them guessing.
Yeah, keep them on their toes.
We're going to fade to black. Before we get to emails, we actually need to settle one thing.
Jay, you're in control of the buttons. You didn't have to interrupt your own music.
I like it.
No.
I respect it.
No.
I do too.
This is it's fine. It's fine. I've trained Scout how to press the buttons.
Okay.
It's just pedals on the floor now.
Uh-huh.
All right. We during the quick breaky break, we were trying to settle the validity of Persona being more popular than Metal Gear. So we've decided.
And really specifically, Dan's saying like he hasn't met any normal person who's played Persona, and it's like,
Right.
well, how do we like
Terminally
prove
online, gamer podcast people and stuff. Yes, I know they like that stuff, but you talk to your neighbors who have a PlayStation, they don't know what the fuck Persona is.
So what
I don't
we're
think that's
going
true
to,
anymore, but yeah.
if there is
Oh,
anyone
absolutely.
listening to the podcast right now that works at a coffee shop, a Subway, or any place where there is a tip jar at your place of employment, we're going to ask you to set up 2 tip jars and do the whole tip war thing. One saying Metal Gear, and then the other one being Persona. And we are just curious as to whichever one will get more recognition from the people coming to your job.
And
tipping.
I mean this, and even if it means I'm wrong, don't make this a work. Like
Yeah,
send pictures to Giant Bomb, and then
Get a
we'll repost
spreadsheet.
them and stuff. Even if Persona wins,
Neither will get tips.
I'll say okay, I concede.
Would you be surprised that in this poll just ran right now, Persona won in terms of
Because we're on a
wondering-
live video game podcast. We're all deep in the weeds, internet people here. I'm saying normal human society doesn't know what Persona or anime
normal
is.
human society?
Anime is so mainstream now,
No,
Dan.
it's not.
This
Yes.
place, yeah, I agree with Nikki. This place is not representative. That's
No,
why we're doing this. We
Okay,
need
that's
to-
fine. But anime is mainstream now. That is indisputable.
Yeah,
I don't even like
regrettably.
anime that much. It is
It's
so
more
mainstream.
more people know anime than know Persona.
Well,
yes, because that's a whole genre as opposed to one franchise. Sure.
Okay.
I know anime is kind of popular because I know there's like shows and stuff now that like are. It used to just be Dragon Ball, and now there's a bunch of them. So I
You
assume.
sound like
Right.
somebody's grandmother. You are someone said you are so stuck in 2008 playing Metal Gear Solid 4 thinking it's the greatest thing in the world. It's insane.
Still is, but yeah. No, anime obviously has some fans.
Wait,
in the States.
hold on. There's a Persona 5 stage play?
Mm.
I need to see this.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's touring. It's in
Okay,
Detroit
wait.
right now.
Chat says Dan contends that no normies know what Persona is. His fatal flaw is thinking normies know what Metal Gear is. All right, you know who's a fucking normie when it comes to games and internet stuff? Paul Levesque, Triple H. And when he came on Up, Down, Down once, they would talk about video games, which is a weird idea because like he doesn't know video games. Woods was like, all right, so tell me about a game that you love. He's like, oh man, the last one I really played was that, Metal Gear Solid. I thought it was so cool. Triple H knows what Metal Gear Solid is.
This is
You
not
think Triple
beating
H
the
is-
whole stuck in the past allegation here, Dan.
I feel like I think I lean towards Dan on this one. Metal
Of
Gear's
course
got
you
some.
do. You
Thank
also
you.
hate JRPGs. I'm shocked.
And it's not about hating JRPGs. I recognize the popularity of Persona. I just think that when we're talking about a casual audience of normal human society, as Dan said, I think it's going to be slightly
what's
more for
normal?
Metal Gear. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
For instance, I listen to that Deadlock podcast, and they play games. They stream games. They do wrestling games and stuff.
Okay.
They're not completely like normies, but they were making fun of the Game Awards and stuff because they'd never heard of like Astrobot or Metaphor ReFantazio, and like so that's kind of more close to like normie game stuff. But they fucking know Metal Gear. They have talked about Metal Gear.
They're
It-
old also, Dan.
They're like 30.
Right, but you guys think old people don't exist?
Yes.
That's
What are you
true. That's a
talking
good
about?
point.
When people
I
say
do
that,
hate
what are you
but
talking
I do
about?
always
Like-
hate that argument.
What
do
are you
always hate
like?
that
Old
part of the
people
argument.
exist? Well, yeah.
Yeah,
And
you're
also,
right.
I
That's a
don't
bad
care
argument.
about young people, so I'm just dismissing anything they think.
Okay, Metal Gear's definitely more adjacent to wrestling than Persona is, I guess. Although I bet if we ask like the modern, like the
You ask, like,
NXT
Kenny
roster,
Omega.
what they like more.
The NXT. Okay, well, Kenny Omega is a total nerd, and so
Come
is
on,
Woods. So
yeah.
I remember the night I met Woods, he was talking about Persona. I was like,
Like-
this guy's a fucking nerd.
But I had sales data, right? So we just know more people bought Persona 5 than Metal Gear Solid 5. So
In Japan or here?
No,
Here,
global-
it's
global.
worldwide.
Okay, what
Yeah,
about
worldwide.
U.S. sales data? Because
I
I'm
don't have
basing
that
this on anecdotal
separated.
stuff from my upbringing, and I live in the States.
yeah, but like this is like with that Disney thing again. You don't you're not talking to many people about Persona. Of course, they're not going to talk about
I
Persona
try not to
with
talk
you.
about
Just like
Persona
they're
ever.
not going to talk about Minnie Mouse with you. So you
I
being
don't wanna
like, no
talk
one
about any
talks
of those
about that with me.
things.
It must not be popular. That makes no sense. You would forget anyways.
Anyway, if you have a coffee shop, do this. I want in like
Please do.
send us the data, the
And
raw
don't,
data.
and don't work it as a bit or whatever. Like, I genuinely want to see.
Yeah, yeah. Or if you want to give me money to open up a coffee cart, then we can do
Yes.
that.
But
It's
wait,
just going
if
to
you
take
do-
a little bit longer.
I'm okay with people skewing it towards an older demographic. So if you work at like a VFW bar, do it there.
if you do this, send us a picture. We'll like maybe even like send people to your place and
I'm
Yeah.
with the
genuinely
purpose
curious.
of tipping. So we're trying to make sure
Yeah.
that you get something out of this.
Yeah, you can't work at an anime store and do this.
No,
though.
none of that. Work at a real store. Yeah.
I would never tip an anime store worker.
No. I'm going to call the cops on an anime store if I see one.
Yeah, this is yeah.
Okay, all right.
This is the person who doesn't understand the popularity of Persona, the one who refused to take an anime figurine to the airport because you might get arrested.
Sex toy of a kid in an
You
inner
don't know what
tube.
sex toy means.
You know what's funny though? I think Sean and I were both collectively sad that Backlar was the one that wound up taking it because I think both of us wanted it.
He's on
Should've
a
fought for
list
it.
now. He's on a list.
Should've fought
All
for it.
right. First email comes from Joe from New York. Hey y'all, watch the movie Tombstone. It's a Western from 1993. It's got all your favorite actors in it. And when it's over, you'll either really want to play Red Dead or you'll get your fill of cowboy shit. And you won't want to play Red Dead anymore. Joe from New York.
Yeah, Tombstone's
That's-
cool.
That's the movie with the Huckleberry line, right?
Val Kilmer, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then McCree said, "Excuse me, what's his name now?"
Yeah, Powers Booth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
The cowboy in Overwatch then said it too as a voice line.
Cole Cassidy.
That's it, Cole Cassidy. Yeah.
Is Bill Paxton in that? It's been forever since I saw it. It's
yeah,
a
he
good
is.
cast. Kurt Russell. Yeah, it's a really good cast.
Yep. It's
When
awesome.
when I say tipping and sending me money, folks, that's for the stop. You know what I'm not going to say. the rest
Go
of it.
for me. I'm fine with that.
Well, Dan, it is a go because so far one in the Metal Gear jar. Anyway,
I'm going to find these stores and shove so much money in there.
Oh, great. We'll just cheat.
No, it's not a work if it's real money that I'm putting in there. I'm saying don't gimmick it, so like don't stage it, you know?
how can we take over a
How's that
small
not
town?
staging?
That's staging, that's me tipping. That's what the point of the thing is.
But what I'm saying is, all right. It's one thing to give us our own game show network, but how do we take over a small town and just kind of like,
I'll be the mayor.
I mean, like, how big is a small town in your mind? Because if it's like 20 people, I can tell you how we take it over pretty easy. We just, beat up everyone and tell them
We
we're in
just
charge.
attack them.
Do
We just
mayors get
attack
to
them with
pick?
violence.
Do mayors get to pick cabinets like a president does?
Like it's not like going to be
No.
as powerful as the presidential cabinet.
Yeah, I was
No.
gonna say because I am confident I could easily become mayor of a city, and then if that's the case, if it's a city that accepts cabinets, you're all in.
well, yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
That we're in. We're gonna make up the Congress.
What if we just show up super organized to a small town and just tell them we've taken over?
My high school gym teacher became the mayor, and he was a stone cold dipshit. There is no way I couldn't become a mayor.
Oh,
Yeah, but
you could be a mayor. Yes.
Yeah.
Mayors don't have as much power as like cartoon shows like The Simpsons lead us to believe that they have.
But what if
right?
I like, as the mayor, granted myself more power?
Yeah, I think Mike's right and Dan's right, where it's like, yeah, on paper they don't have that much power, but if you just keep doing things, who's actually going to stop you? Eventually, the
Yeah.
FBI. But
it always weirded me out because every cartoon show, the mayor was like a significant character, and I
Still
was
to
just
this
like,
day.
I don't know who my mayor is. Right? They can't tell
I
me
don't either.
anything. No
I've
one
never.
knows.
The only governors I've ever known were Jesse Ventura and Schwarzenegger.
the
Well, Bill Clinton was
HOA
one.
president
Bill Clinton
has
was
more
one.
power than a mayor, definitely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think if one of us or Dan becomes mayor, he could just, for that small town, make Metal Gear Day? He could do that, right?
Oh,
Yeah, of course, he could declare Metal Gear
that
Day.
sounds fun. I'm gonna be a
Give
mayor.
Kojima the key to the city. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no
Oh
one will
my
show up
God.
because it's not popular enough, but you could try.
All the weeds.
No, on
come
Metal
out.
Gear Day, it's mandatory. Everyone has to play it.
It's mandatory
I'll be a nice
attendance.
mayor. You can pick which one. It has to be one of the mainline ones and not Peace Walker.
Gunpoint, at the threat of violence from the state, you will enjoy Metal Gear
Oh
Solid.
my God.
the mayor.
Dan is going to become the Footloose parents, but with anime and Persona.
I would. Oh, if I was president, I would ban anime. I'm not kidding. They're all looking at TikTok and stuff now. I would ban anime day one.
You enjoy some anime.
I mean, for content.
Yeah, it doesn't offset.
I've never
anything.
like on my own time watched anime. I'm a grown man.
Okay, all right. It's been a while since it's 2025. It's a new year, so let's start the new year with some beef. This comes from Alex
already
from
did.
British Columbia. More beef. Bomb Sensei Grubb and the Bomb Bacterios. First time, long time. I wanted to reach out regarding a late 2024 Bombcast. I was listening along when conversation turned to focus on a member of the gaming industry. Jeff replied derisively, "Ugh, that guy looks like he does jujitsu." Come on, Jeff, don't be that way. Jiu-jitsu is easily one of the geekiest sports on earth. You'd love it. My current gym is run by the two guys with encyclopedic knowledge of horror movies and video games. One of the peak professional athletes is so obsessed with pasta and Star Wars that his fight name is Darth Rigatoni.
You're not selling Jeff on this guy.
Jiu-jitsu doesn't directly equal the Affliction shirt Joe Rogan pod high value male combo pack. Most of us got into the sport because it's weird and fun, not to be jerks. There are still some jerks though. We're working on it. Now, Jeff and I have beef. I'm Canadian, so that just means I will be marginally less nice to him.
Oh shit.
Anyway, you all should try a trial class at your local Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym. Reporting back on that would be a fun segment. Cheers, Alex from British Columbia.
All right, Grubb, you know who's a cool guy that does jujitsu and loves it?
Who?
MVP, one of the coolest wrestlers.
And then, you know what? I also have had the urge to go do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It seems like a good time, but also then I do see it. I'm like, I think I would just stand up and walk away. Like these guys are down on the ground. I think I would just stand up and go in the other direction. And then what would they do? Yeah, I would probably be toxic in there.
I think the worst sell on Jiu-Jitsu has been a friend of mine saying, "Jen, you got to get to jits with me, bro." And then he on the
jits.
on the
Jits
concrete
energy.
outside of a bar, he lays flat on his back and is like, "Come at me, man.
Like, jits
Come
me,
at me.
dude.
I can take you down.
Get some of this jits."
And then I just walk away. I'm like, I do not want anything to do with this jits.
I had a friend who was learning Krav Maga. Is that what that's called?
That's where you grab rolled up magazines and stuff.
Gav McGraw.
Yeah.
Krav
Krav Maga, right? Yeah.
Self-defense. And she was like, "Oh, I want to like show you." I was like, all right. And she was like, "Stop." She's like, "You have to mount me first." And I was like, "Nope." Not doing that.
I remember when I was on that LA Noir trip with Rockstar in 2010, everybody at Rockstar was obsessed with Krav Maga, and that's all, like, just whole dinners of talking about Krav Maga. And it's like, all right, yeah, seems like
Yeah,
a
it
lot.
had a moment there, huh?
Yeah.
It was real popular.
Next email comes from Dan from Boston. Does Mike Minotti have neurotic dreams?
Like Woody Allen dreams? Like, no, not really.
Oh, yes, the one neurotic person.
That's what you say neurotic. That's what I think of.
Fair.
Stereotypically. I don't know. I'm not very, I guess a lot of my dreams are like, they are negative in a lot of ways. It's usually not like terrible things, but kind of bad things. Or like a theme in them is that like, oh, I've wasted my life and I'm a loser or something.
Oh,
Maybe I
wow.
should get that looked at. I feel great in the waking world, but my dreams are kind of mean.
Mine are all like fun and cool, but then I do the only negative ones I have really are I find myself either in high school or college.
Someone says Persona 6 is more popular than Metal Gear. And you just wake up sobbing.
No, it's weirdly enough, it's a teacher or a school official comes to me and is like, "You didn't graduate back then." Like I'm 40-year-old me in the dream, and they're like, "You didn't you have to you have to come back and you have to do all these classes that you didn't actually do." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm fucked."
Travis has started emailing the podcast again, and Travis, I'm not quite ready to forgive yet. But I appreciate your emails because of not just two-timing us, triple timing us.
Triple time.
Wow.
So Travis, I appreciate the emails and I see them.
You can start to heal, but it's going to take more time.
It's going to take some time. It's going to take some trust, but good old reliable. An email from Nathan from Tumwater, Washington. Nathan writes in and asks, "How do you like to get exercise?"
In short bursts. Like just go hang from something for 4 seconds and then go on with my day.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love going to the gym like at like 11 p.m. and I know like that's not what I should do.
Just
it's-
stand in the parking garage for the first half an hour. You know, really enjoy it.
I'm
a
in the
big
suburbs. We don't
whip.
have parking garages. Maybe that's why I love them so much. They're like a rare treat for me when I'm in a parking garage.
Treat.
Yeah, but no, I like the vibe of like a Planet Fitness at like 11:30 p.m.
I like Planet Fitness because it's Waluigi themed.
Sure.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, that's
Minus
true.
the grunting the policy that they have.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the no lunks or whatever, the lunk alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waluigi loves lunks.
Yeah.
I during running training, which starts in May, it's just a lot of fucking running. But as I get myself ready for that, I'm trying to do the morning thing every day. So Tuesdays bike, Wednesdays are upper and core, Thursdays bike, Fridays run, Saturdays legs, Sunday is yoga, and Monday is run. So I'm trying to like do a lot of cardio, a little bit of muscle stuff, getting the legs and core ready for crazy running this year.
I think my shoot answer is actually is sports. I like to go play basketball, or go play soccer, or something like that if I could, but not a lot of time for that these days.
I do enjoy. I've only done it a couple times, but it's not a reliable form of exercise. But I do like backpacking because I like the idea of walking until I fucking can't anymore.
Mhm.
And that's
Good
fun.
time.
And
Yeah.
then,
Walking
like,
is a big one. Walking is a good way to like ramp up into something. Like I'm trying to get
walking's
like
awesome.
15,000 steps a day now. Got one of those under desk treadmills things, so it's like
Oh, yeah.
constantly walking. Yeah.
So before like a big Disney trip, I like to get into what I call theme park shape, where it's almost like one of those couch to 4K things where I start walking a lot more around the neighborhood like 2 months out from the trip, and then like all right, I'll do like one lap around the neighborhood. Then after it's like all right, now 2 laps, like now 3, because like otherwise it's rough in those theme parks, especially day 3. All
Especially
that
at the
standing
roids.
around. Yeah, what's that, Jeff?
Especially without the roids.
Not the roids. Yeah, the
Yeah.
roids help too. But yeah, so yeah, I like to walk to get into theme park shape.
yeah, walking's fun. It's great. Go do it.
Like it a lot.
I will, before I signed up for YouTube Premium, every time like an ad would come on like a long form YouTube video, I would do 10 push-ups per ad. So there's that.
Nice.
That's good.
Nice.
Go do push-ups, folks. They're good for you.
Steps are good.
They're really hard. Maybe it's because I've always been bigger, but like, so like the bigger the harder the push-up is. They're really hard.
Do planks. Start with some planks.
Yeah,
Hold
planks.
planks. See if you can get yourself up to like a minute plank, then go up to a 2-minute plank. That's good for the core.
Are we still
would-
planking? Is that a thing?
Oh, like
Not as a like trend, but as a exercise. Yes.
So like planking is like when the trend was not doing a plank, but like being a straight
Right.
board on a surface, right?
Different thing, yeah,
No, people
yeah.
aren't doing
A
that. You saw
plank-
someone doing an actual plank the other day, and then you said, "Look, planking's back," and I'm like, "Wait, what? No, they're
No.
just exercising."
No,
Shoot
they're
planks
also
are just upper push-ups and you hold
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
that person wasn't planking either, Mike. They were trying to jits with you.
Oh, I was trying to get some jits going.
Yeah. All right. Final email of the show comes from Viv. Hey, dudes and dudettes. I've been listening since the arrow pointing down days, and GB has been the podcast soundtrack of my life through good and bad times. On the 4th of January, my wife performed an incredible feat of delivering our son, parentheses, first kid. And yes,
Hey, congrats.
during the downtime in labor, the Game of the Year podcasts were in my ear whilst I played the odd bit of Balatro and Threes on my phone. I got 2 questions. What is the default game that you install on your phone, console, or PC? Mine would be Threes, though it is slowly becoming Balatro/Vampire Survivors. As a new dad, and question number 2, as a new dad, what should I play whilst on leave when the little one is milk drunk? Love you all. Viv from Hinkley, UK.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of time to play games with if it's just it's the first kid and they're just that little lump of fat, which is what they are for the first several months, and all they do is eat and poop. That is a really good time to play games because it turns out you just got to hold them most of the time. So play something like big and ambitious in that time. That's when I really just went whole hog on Breath of the Wild because it had just come out and they sent me the console and my like a 1-month-old and that was perfect. So something along those lines.
It was Danny O'Dwyer with Bloodborne. He got
Yes.
super
Oh,
yeah.
duper into Bloodborne at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had the second kid, and it was a little bit more difficult because now one's asking for me to make them cereal while I'm still holding the other one, and yet I still beat Sekiro that way. So
You beat
Yeah.
Sekiro?
yeah, of course,
Jesus
I'm a
Christ.
gamer. Jesus,
Wow.
dude. Yeah. As far as default game you install on your stuff, I wish I had like just a little fun physics thing on my phone all the time, and nothing really hits the mark for me. So I don't know.
Grubb, do you have an iPhone or Android?
I have Android.
I think you can do this on Android, but the Delta emulator with the WarioWare Twisted is incredible because it just uses the interior, like the thing that phones have anyway, the accelerometer or whatever. WarioWare Twisted is incredible.
That's
on phones.
perfect. That's literally perfect. Okay, I'm going to try that. Okay, yeah, that's got to work on Android because the emulation scene is much more mature there. So yeah,
check out Delta emulator WarioWare Twisted.
Okay, awesome.
If Balatro had like the, I guess, what is this, vertical mode, I think I would never stop playing it.
Yeah.
Marvel Snap, I haven't gone back into it, but I got it ready just in case I got to burst the seal open.
It's always installed, right? Ready to go.
Always installed. It's always installed, ready to go.
Balatro is the first phone game I've played since 3s, I think, and it is definitely a good one to just have on there. It's like, oh, okay, we're just sitting on the tarmac for another hour. I guess I'll pull out Balatro.
Okie dokie. That about does it for emails. Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address to send your what? I can get sprays for Marvel Rivals by playing Snap. Oh no.
Wow.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address to send your emails to. Thank you everyone for sending your emails to that address. What did we learn today? We've learned that oil and water don't mix. Sega's cool when you want to make a Sonic game of sorts. Parking garages may possibly be comforting. And that Jeff Grubb is the leaker of the year. Also, dolphins are pretty cool. It's always good vibes that game's done quick. And don't jits with your bro, even if they get on the floor and try and ask you aggressively. And hey, folks, let's all take a lap around the block so we can get a theme park shape. It's just like we can all get into shape mentally, emotionally, and spiritually by listening to the Giant Bombcast every dang week. What do we got going on the rest of this week? Game Mess popping off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, correct?
Yeah. Should be all 3 days this week. Back for you guys the rest of the week. Gonna have some fun people on there. Talk about video game news. Also, hey, if that Switch 2 gets revealed, we'll do something with that.
Oh,
shit.
Yes. Oh,
watch along with that.
Yep.
I will be whipping out the Terminator again tomorrow. Maybe we'll beat it. We'll see.
I think there's a strong chance you do. Yep.
And then Friday, big time for charity. We will be raising money for the wildfire relief. For Bowser's Hurry, will be several of us racing to beat Bowser's Fury first. And I think we've decided on some stakes where the winner will get to give homework assignments to the others as far as games to play. So
Yes. Also, a friend of the site, our dear friend Jesse Vitale, no relation to young Elmo, but Jesse Vitale has organized a dream team of folks to also stream for charity to raise money for the Los Angeles wildfires relief, and we're going to be embedding those streams on the site all throughout the week. If you're in a position to donate, please donate there, donate later in the week, or even just hang out. Visibility is always good for that.
And make them do stupid stuff with your donations. I donated last night, and I made them play a round of Smash Brothers where they all had to be Wario, and the only legal move was farts. So,
there you go.
Put them through some shit.
That'd be slow pace because those farts take a while to turn up.
It took a long time.
We're going to have a voicemail dump truck popping off later this week. We'll find a spot to do BCR as well because Sean has put the call out for best music, video game music of 2024. I believe there's a Blue Sky thread. Please reply to that with some links, timestamps if you got them, for any potential bangers of 2024. Boyos, any other things to talk about, to do, or whatever?
I'm playing a Donkey Kong Country game this week on my own time. That's going to be
there you
fun.
go. Yeah,
I'm
we'll
gonna play that.
plenty of games to start talking about here pretty soon, new games. But for now, do the coffee thing, do the tip thing. I wanna see
seriously, do it. Don't work it. I legitimately want to see.
Yes. And I didn't realize how much footage from last year I have, but it's an obscene amount. A lot of fun, dumb stuff. Coming to your eye holes, ear holes, and heart holes soon. That does it for the Giant Bombcast, everybody.
Give a heart hole, everybody.
I've been Jan, he's been Mike, he's been Grubb, he's been Dan, and you at home have been great. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Giant Bombcast. You've shown feet. This man's showing feet.
I want to do the Rey Mysterio entrance every time now. That's fun.
Okay. All right. Oh, can you do like a quick Cody Vader thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
The music.
Adrenaline, something, Cody Rhodes.
Give us the knowing smile. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Fantastic.